Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and this is The Real, episode 266 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
GG! Woo! E3! G3!
G3
I like
indeed.
that. Good game group. There you go. G3! We are rebranding. We are announcing that we're just going to be called the G3.
The G3.
The 3G.
Yeah,
No, that sounds like old technology.
That does.
I take it back.
That will date us, and we don't want to be.
That will date us too much. Yeah. How about this? G Series X. No.
No. How about we just make it simple?
G60.
Go real. How do you call it? Samuel L. Jackson, and go G to the motherfucking G.
I think that's taken by Chaos. Actually, I think that's coined by Chaos.
No, well, it is, but if you didn't copyright it, then it's his
loss. Oh, then it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
But you heard that, Chaos. We backstab you.
You got to copyright it. Otherwise,
people normally get backstabbed.
No protection. That's what happens.
No.
Yeah. That voice, of course, is Mr. David Santos, aka Dream Twister. What, sir, is up with you?
I just want to send my love to Chaos Reaper because, man, I love that guy and I miss him. I miss him dearly.
Yeah,
I miss
the show
him dearly.
Misses him. It's like an
the
empty
show.
spot.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have a third chair at some point. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I don't know why my voice went that high. In the meantime, I've been doing good, man. I've been doing fine. It's our favorite time. It is
exciting. Are you excited as I am that E3 is here and we're off for the next few days because we said screw that, we're taking it off.
It's the holiday. It's the annual pilgrimage to the E3, and we go to our Twitches and our YouTubes to watch the press conferences.
Yeah,
and
that's how far we go.
That's as far exactly. It's like we're there.
Yeah. Why spend the money when it can come to you?
Exactly. Right? Why you spend the money? Have the limit. Well, first of all, you can't go right now because they're not doing it live. But back in the day when they were doing them, you will go. You will spend all this time, all this money. You will be there in person, so it feels like, oh my God, this is an amazing experience. Oh, I want to try that out. And that out means that you have to do a 4-hour line, and there goes your day and just to check one game.
Just see one.
And then maybe a second one after you eat something, if you can find some place to eat, and that's it. That's E3 for you. E3 for you was enjoying 2 demos. That's all. Our E3, on the other hand, is to be at the comfort of our homes, our respective homes, or with each other, watching in the couch, watching the press conferences as they happen, watching trailer after trailer, announcement after announcement, and downloading demos and just playing them and doing the podcast and all that good stuff. And that's the best way to enjoy E3.
I agree.
Wouldn't you agree?
I agree 100%. You gain like 20 pounds. You completely ruin your sleeping pattern.
So many pizzas. Many pizzas get eaten.
Yeah, for real. At the end of it, you're like, I'm just kind of done with pizza.
Yeah, I just noticed. I noticed that because this can only be comparable to, at least to me. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel as excited as you feel excited about Super Bowl. The only difference is Super Bowl is one day.
Yeah.
But E3 is at least a couple of days because by the third day it starts getting boring. But still.
Although here, I would argue that I think this particular E3, because we were always for the E3 that we watched, was really for the press conference, as you mentioned. So
right,
everyone is doing a press conference this year. It's like there is
Yep.
not a shortage of press conferences. There's so many that they literally are going on for. Well, first off, it's Friday the 11th, and they've already been like 4 or 5 of them. You know what I mean? So and E3 hasn't even started yet. So there you go. There's just everyone's doing something. So I would argue this year, I don't think we're going to be bored on the third day.
Oh, it's going to be the best year ever. It's going to be
Yeah.
the best E3. I mean,
It just
this
might.
is it.
It
You
just
know,
might, sir. I agree 100%, and I cannot.
last year had the potential of being the best E3 because new consoles and all like that, and then the pandemic took care of that, and there was no E3. Yeah. So everybody's like pent up and excited to just like throw out all the announcements and surprise and wow us, and this is the right moment, and you're right. E3 hasn't started yet because we are officially doing the opening ceremonies of E3 right now as we're doing the podcast. Oh, of course, by the time you listen to the podcast, it's probably ended already. But we're just saying we're doing the. No, that's not true. I'm gonna do my best to actually put it early. This is the opening ceremonies of E3. Welcome. I don't know if we have anything, planned on what we're gonna do as far as coverage, but we know for a fact that you can always go to our Facebook page. What's that Facebook page again?
It is goodgame.rocks.
That's the one. That's
the
right.
one.
That's right.
That's the one.
That's right.
Yeah. So you haven't gone over there. First off, thank you so much for tuning in if this is your first time, and if you have not gone over there, or you've been here listening to the show, have not made it over to goodgame.rocks, please go over there, join the conversation. Takes you right to the Facebook group, which will have plenty of information as to what's going on.
Tell us who you are so that I don't know, we can send you something, because I'll be surprised to know that you're listening and not being part of the group. I mean, we have been, it's a well-known fact that our group is, it's a small group of, usually very close people on the group. But if you're listening out there, and we know you are because I've checked the map. It says that we have international listeners, evidently.
Yeah. In
international bots.
No, just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
I get excited. If that count gets to a certain number, I get excited.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, yes.
So,
welcome.
Yes, exactly. Welcome to City 17. It's good to be here.
Oh my God, guys. Well, as I said before, thanks so much for tuning in. What we normally do, guys, this is going to be quite the episode. And I feel like the only episode that may top this one will be next week's, because it will be even more information. But anyway, what we normally do, guys, first is we go into what we have been up to, move on into what will be a severe amount of news items, and then we finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic. Damn it, I closed the damn window. I tell you. Let me just bring it up here real quick.
It's called Sony. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
No, will Sony underdeliver on their next gen promise?
Oh, wait a minute. That can't be right, because they believe in generations.
They do. Until now. Until something. I don't know what exactly made the change, but something did. And well, get into that a little bit later on in the show. Of course, real quick, if you don't make it to the to the hot topic, I just want to say, I'm not saying they're not doing good. They're obviously doing very good.
Oh, they're doing really good. This is not Sony bashing. Relax. We're just a little concerned. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. It may be a little Sony bashing, but it's coming from a Sony fan, so that's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's start with what we always start with, and that, sir, is what we have been up to. Mr. Santos.
Yes, sir.
I understand that you have played some things and watched some things, and many of those things were good, but some were bad. So please let us know.
Some were good, some were bad, some were ugly. Well, let me tell you about a new game that I've been playing very recently. That game is called Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oh, haha, I'm joking. I've been playing that game forever now for like 7 months. I don't know. I don't know if I finished it. And I'm starting to find that is very problematic because
I'd say so.
last year, last podcast, I was actually praising it for the interesting storytelling, that it was giving me. And to be fair, it it the things that happened were interesting. It's just that I don't know if it's the type of game that it is, or maybe I need to reach another milestone that I'm not aware of, or
Okay.
something. But it usually breaks down like this: it has the story quest, it has something else I mean, that's something else being killing a bunch of guys, on basically a list of guys that you need to take care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then it might have like a tertiary thing that you can usually forget about it because it's usually tied up to DLC or something like that, or at least that's what they did with Odyssey. I don't think I haven't noticed them doing that here, but I think I did the main thing, the main storyline, or at least I know there are certain areas of the map that I still need to go to, but the stories don't look like the type of stories that will branch out into, oh, let's continue this to the end. If anything, they look like side quests.
Oh wow.
And then I need to kill the bunch of people. Which last time on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when I didn't know if I was getting the ending because I finished I finished the main quest, but it left me in limbo. I was like, oh, okay, so maybe I need to like take care of all these guys that are left. I didn't have that many at that point. I need to take care of them, and then I'll get the real ending. And then I do them all, and what happens? Absolutely fucking nothing. I'm still in the world,
Oh
no
well.
credits, no nothing. So, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm done. I finished this game. Fuck that, and I told my spiel on the podcast that I wasn't happy of having a clear cut. This is you have reached the end of the game. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean the end in the sense of this is where it stops, don't let me play anymore. It's just let me know that I have accomplished the goal, the goal that I was supposed to do throughout this whole thing, because what I've experienced, yes, it could have very well been the end. It had revelations and interesting things, but you're also leaving me in a position where I could be expecting more, and I'm not seeing it. And it's not like you're trying to sell it to me, or at least it doesn't look that way. So that's where I'm like, okay, this is starting to feel like like Odyssey, and that's going to be incredibly disappointing at the end, after all, because I wholeheartedly fucking enjoyed that game. I think I sent you a screenshot of 100 hours I put on it, and it was 100 hours that I was having pure fun. I was having a good time. So even if, let's say, if it's true, and this is like, this was it, and it did the same thing that Odyssey did, I'll be very disappointed. Yes, but I still wouldn't take away from the fact that I had a great time with that game. And if they continue doing those games like that, I wouldn't, I will probably, check the next one out. Which is surprising to say because if you guys know me from way back, I used to not care for the Assassin's Creed series at all. Like I did not care, and most recently I haven't cared that much. The most the one that got me interested, but I didn't play, was Origins, and then I played Odyssey because I think I got that for free, and I ended up really liking Odyssey. But yeah, that was that. Um, I'm also jumping from Valhalla. I double dipped on Ghost and Goblin Resurrection. I like that. I like that game. I like that game a whole lot. Hold on. Sorry, my headset went dead.
So,
I like the game a whole lot. It is hard as balls. I get that, and it could get frustrating to the point where you're not making progress. Because I'm not that skill of a gamer. So, I mean, I told you I was able to pass level 1 in 69 tries. I died 69 times to be able to pass that stage. So it's horrible. But that game still has a charm that it just brings me to the, a time when I would play Goose and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, and I love the game. So, and there also the reason I bought it on PC is because I have, like, there are certain type of games that, and this might just be me, for preservation purposes,
mhm.
I want to have the PC version of it. This is not PC elitism of, oh, it runs better on PC or anything like that, because it doesn't. It's exactly the same. I mean, it's the type of game it is not a frames per second game. I mean, this thing runs beautifully on the Switch,
Oh,
but
but
I'm thinking
the library on a PC will is more likely to last much longer than anything else. Yeah.
exactly that
Makes
was
sense.
gonna be my point. Yes. So I feel like if I have it on PC, that is meant to last longer. That if I have it on the Switch, where it's just gonna last for as long as I own a Switch, because let's face it, the next Nintendo actual jump, generation jump, it's not gonna be compatible with Switch games. They're gonna say it is, but it's really not. Probably not gonna. Anyway, you can't trust that. What I'm trying to say. So, and that game is fun. That game's great. So, playing a little bit of that. I did try something, because I've already spoken about Ghosts and Goblins Resurrections. Um, I did try something a little bit different. This was a demo that I did not expect it to play, because this game was not on my radar at all, because I haven't heard of it. I just saw a report that there was going to be there was going to be a lot of demos on Xbox during this
Yeah.
E3, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, let me see what type of games they're talking about. And there was one that caught my eye called the Rift Breaker, and I noticed, I don't know on an Xbox, but I noticed that the demo was available on PC. So I was like, oh, okay, this game's not out. It's not. It's still in development. It's not meant to be out until the fall of 2021 is the date that it has right now. So it doesn't even have a specific date set yet.
So you said Rift Breaker, like Rift?
The Rift
Okay.
Breaker is what
Oh,
it's
the
called. Yeah,
Rift. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. The Rift Breaker, as the description from the Steam page, I'm going to read directly, is a base building survival game with action RPG elements. Action RPG elements. Think about it like Diablo style, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You are an elite scientist slash commando inside an advanced mecha suit capable of dimensional rift travel. That just means that you can move from base to base, like you can teleport, basically. Hack and slash counters enemies, build your base, collect samples, and research new inventions to survive. So, a little bit about the gameplay. So the game is it's a top down view, and you're it's interesting because it's part base building like StarCraft and StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm looking at some of the gameplay. I said, dude, this is like StarCraft, isn't it?
It looks like an RTS. It definitely has the feel of an RTS game, but like it combines that with elements of an action RPG, an ARPG, like Diablo. Like at some point, you constructing your base. At some of the points, you're going out there into the wilds to explore or destroy monsters. areas where monsters can become like monster nest
Mhm.
that could be spawning beasts that the beasts that attack you. And and also it turns into what in some cases it turns into like a very visceral tower defense game, you know. So I have those elements working in it in itself in at the same time, and I gotta say I'm kind of impressed with the way they managed to marry these elements, you know, put them together into something that I was actually that I mean I'm interested in the final product. I wish listed after I was done with the demo. You know, it obviously throws you the sales page.
Of
Oh,
course,
wish
yeah.
listed, and I'm like, hell yeah, I want to know more. So,
Would you like to know more?
would you like to know more? Exactly. Because I like the element of base building was one of my favorite things to do on StarCraft. I was never like a good StarCraft player. I was never like an offensive guy. I never played online. I don't play online, you know, matches against people. You know, so I always play against the AI, and it was for some reason there was it was very fun for me to build like the ultimate base and from there spawn the ultimate units and just go out on the offensive with this incredible army that will decimate everybody. Where over here, you are building your base, but you're not building an army. You're building your defenses for the base, yes. And you need, let me tell you, you need to grow and invest on technologies that will make your weapons better. For example, your mech better in certain areas, and that's how you progress. So you need to be on the move. You constantly need to be, you know, you can't just hunker down on a base and expect to grow everything from there because the resources are limited. At some point, you're gonna need to get more resources from from some areas because your wells are gonna dry up. So so you are encouraged to go out there. You're encouraged to build outposts and defend those outposts, or have them auto defend themselves with like good towers and stuff like that. And then when you get the way you fight the monsters is you're basically playing like a Diablo game where you're either hacking and slashing if you want to use a blade weapon, or you're shooting, or a combination of both. Because you can attack a blade on one arm and a gun on another, and mow down enemies that way. But you can't do it alone because the enemies swarm you in like incredible numbers.
Mhm.
And I mean it's crazy the amount of enemies that this throws at you. So you can probably handle yourself on a fight like that by yourself if once your mech is like fully upgraded. But at the beginning, you kind of want to play close to your base, you know. And position of place of things on the base is important. So all those things come together in a way that I found very entertaining. I had a lot of fun with that demo. The demo is only one mission. It's supposed to be like a training mission, like they're training you to
Yeah.
actually go on this mission. Um, and it throws you into like this very this scenario that is meant to teach you how to play the game, but at some point it is a no win. Also at the same time at the very end, but that's okay because that's what's expected. It's like okay, this is so you can kind of like the game showing you like this is the kind of shit you're gonna expect on the game when it finally releases. Like, be mindful that you are not ready. So I really, really, really liked it. I do have some complaints about it though,
Mhm.
and that is that so the game's getting released on PC and Xbox. So far, I haven't heard of any other uh, platforms, but my main problem is that the game is designed to be played with the gamepad primarily. It seems, which for
Really?
the type of game
Hmm.
this is,
Yeah, you figure
yeah,
they would go with the keyboard and mouse.
yeah. Unless that hasn't been implemented fully, because you could play with keyboard and mouse. It's just that it doesn't play like you will expect with a keyboard and mouse. Like with a keyboard and mouse, for example, I will expect to, oh, so I'm, like I play Diablo on PC. You click where you want the character to go, and your character goes there. That's how most of those games played. And usually, when you have a game from that top-down perspective, it's like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be like StarCraft, it's gonna be like Diablo, it's gonna be like those games. No, here, you have to use the WASD keys to move your mech, which is a little disconcerting because if I'm gonna do that on a top-down view, I might as well use the gamepad. But
Yeah.
what
Uh-huh.
happens? Yeah, but what happens is that the game has a lot of menus. Unfortunately, I don't feel I feel like they could use like the interface. There's still some work that needs to be done on it because it is incredibly confusing. It is some selections make absolutely no sense. The reason why they made them there, like to select if I want to build, for example, the type of buildings that I need to build, whether it's a power plant or it is a resource gathering building. To select them, you kind of have to play with the bumper buttons. And I'm like, there's a perfectly good D-pad right here that I could be using for that. It's like,
So
why
so
the hell?
the question is, could it be that the reason they so you tell me, because I haven't played any of these games. I never played StarCraft, but I've
Mm,
seen StarCraft gameplay,
mm,
and StarCraft gameplay appears to be more point, direct, make them go with what they need to do. So you're not really controlling, you're just directing.
right.
Okay. So it could be that this game is a little bit more, hey, you do have some elements of this things that you're directing to do, but for the most part you're controlling just this mech. And based on the movement, I'm looking at the gameplay, it's like it looks like he's moving pretty swiftly through
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. He
terrain.
moves swiftly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He moves. He it's a fast mech. It's a running mech. And on top of that, it has a button that it boosts your speed in case you need to get out of tight situations.
Mhm.
So yes, no. I believe so. I think they're focusing primarily on getting the gamepad controllers down because they're thinking, oh man, if we can actually reach the console crowd, right? Because let's be real. Unless this game ends up being stellar, if it just gets thrown out on PC and it gets 6.0 or 7.0 or something like that, which is good, it's not gonna sell the numbers that they're probably
No, for
wanting to
sure.
do.
Yeah. Mhm.
So because it's just gonna be lost in the shuffle. So if you release something like this on console, and I mean, look at the gameplay. At first, it doesn't look like your typical console game, Um, but if you can adapt that very well to consoles, then that I feel like they could actually make more money out of it. And also, I get what you're saying about the controllers, but and yes, it's probably has to do with that. But I feel like if you're gonna offer a PC version, then you should have logical PC controls, not controls that feel like it's a port. Like you're porting the gamepad into the keyboard is not really keyboard control. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well,
No, I know
but
what you mean. Yeah, because obviously the WSD is not ideal for running around
yeah,
because it,
for
it
for
seems
that
to
type of
be,
movie, it's not expected,
yeah,
and
it seems to run or move fairly quickly.
yeah.
And so that's why I was like, oh, that, yeah. So look, I
It
mean,
almost looks like it could have it. It's meant to have that analog feel
yes,
also.
yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And there is a like if you play Diablo on like the best way to realize what I mean is like if you can play Diablo on console and play on PC, you're still playing the same game, Diablo 3. You're still playing the same, the same game, but the controllers are vastly different. But the difference there is that they have been customized towards that particular experience. Like on consoles, it feels like if Diablo 3, it's awesome. Actually, it's a different experience. Yeah, I will say, because you're actually controlling the character directly, like you will expect with a gamepad. You will not expect with a gamepad having to move a cursor and then press a button that says, "Hey, character, move here." Like that would be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have direct direct control over your character. But on PC, you kind of expect to point with the mouse, like, okay, go here, go there. If you want to use the mouse, if you want to use the gamepad, then it should revert back to gamepad controls where you have direct control of the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know they're still working on it. It's too early. I really like what I've seen so far. So the Rift Breaker is now a game that is on my radar. Mostly because I enjoy those type of games. I'm not gonna say like, hey Matthew, you should check it out, because it's not really that type of game, and it doesn't look like story is gonna be a strong point on it either.
Yeah,
At least
well,
from
I'm
what I've
looking at the
experienced so
gameplay, and
far.
it's not. It ain't for me anyway.
No,
It's just not my type of thing.
it's not. It totally speak to me. Don't get me wrong. And you know what's funny thing is that I mentioned the story not being strong, but one of the best storylines in that I've experienced in gaming, one of the ones that I certainly enjoy so much that I follow the lore all the way to the end, happens to be one of my favorite games of all time, StarCraft, and then StarCraft 2 also, but particularly StarCraft. Like, even for an RTS, I thought that story was like freaking phenomenal, so
Nice.
good. It should be Netflix if you're listening, because you're doing everything now.
You're doing everything.
I got one more game that I
Okay.
actually started playing.
Yeah, man. Oh,
All
boy.
right, that game is gonna be Ratchet and Clank. No, it's not Ratchet and Clank. It's actually Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission. You know that's
Intermission?
out, right? Yeah, that's what it's called.
I was gonna say. I was like, wait,
Integrate.
integrate.
Well,
Yeah.
the integrate is the PS5 version. I feel like Intermission, I think, is what they're calling the particular DLC. Could be wrong on that. You can double check.
All called integrate, isn't it? I think it's all called. Let me see.
Double check.
Yeah, I'm
For me,
looking.
please,
I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah. Anyway, this thing was not easy to find on the PSN store. My God, what the living, breathing. You know what? I'm not blaming Sony on this one. All right, at all. This is all Square and Square Enix, and their like backhanded, like ridiculous way of upgrading PS4 games to PS5. Like, you will not know which version you're playing.
So Intermission is what the Yuffie DLC. Intermission.
There you go.
Yeah. Integrate is the entire package. Yeah.
I on your face. You see, I knew I was right. I told you, but you didn't believe me.
I didn't, because I didn't know what the hell intermission. Intermission. What the hell?
It is called Intermission. Yep. The Yuffie, the gray story, the origin story of Yuffie. That's not an origin story. It's an origin of how she got into all that mess, maybe, but
Allegedly. No.
Allegedly.
No. Becoming more and more non-canon. Go ahead, I'm kidding.
Shh, say nothing. Say nothing. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission, the Yuffie story, I'm just going to call it the Yuffie story from here on out, is, of course, as you guys know, a DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake. You could, by the way, if you own Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PS4 and you did not get that version on free from PSN from that month that PSN had it for free,
mm-hmm.
and you own a PS5 now, this is you could get the upgraded graphics version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Obviously, the Yuffie DLC will still cost you $20, so you're still paying for the DLC.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
exactly. So when I reinstalled the game, I was all in with the with the plan of going all in back again to Final Fantasy VII remake and playing it through and
Whoa, really?
experiencing the
Okay,
game and
okay.
all that and yeah, that was not gonna happen.
It's like I remember that being quite the time sink.
That was quite a time since. Yes, exactly. And it was fairly recent. I only played that last year. So it's still too early for me to like jump in it. Although when I played that game, believe me, I was left with, wanting to play more of it. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. But I knew that if I started playing like that and then I got to a certain part where I thought, okay, this is where the Yuffie DLC, starts or something like that. I knew I wasn't gonna. I was gonna get bored. I was gonna get distracted. I was gonna start playing something else. So luckily, the game, you are able to select the Yuffie DLC straight from the menu. You don't
Oh,
have to.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Do
you
you
don't have to
do you
be in
carry
the.
over? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. You don't have to have. You don't even have to have your save game uh PlayStation 4 save game, which you probably won't because that's another like Square Enix way of trying to get difficulty to get you to be able to bring your save game from PS4 to PS5. You will think it's as easy as just like, oh, transfer my save games from the console, but no.
Good
It's a
job, Square.
process. Yeah,
Good
you only
job.
have one job.
Yeah.
So, but so you can start this, and the director says, "Oh, I recommend that people play through Final Fantasy VII Remake before they start this game." And I'm thinking, oh, so it's probably going to be, probably going to be either picking up or being very close to the end or something like that. But no, not at all. You can play this exclusively first and then jump into Final Fantasy VII remake, and it'll well so far it'll make sense. I will say this. Okay, I will say this. Let me rephrase. You are going to want to have had this Final Fantasy VII remake experience.
Mhm.
Yes, that I'll give him credit. I'm just saying if you've done that already, you don't have to do it again. To play this. This you can just start from the Yuffie
DLC. Yeah,
DLC.
DLC.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So how to the only thing is that the Yuffie DLC expect you to already know how to play the game, and believe me, it's not gonna give you any tutorials or any reminders of how things get done. It will show you. It'll tell you how new things get done. Any new gameplay elements, it will let you know. But how to fight, and believe me, I'm a little rusty on my Final Fantasy VII. So I still had to go back and look at the manual and read how to fight, how to dodge, how to block. Because I was like, I know you can do that, but I can't remember which button it is. And right now I'm pressing all the buttons and nothing's happening. Of course, because I'm out of the. I'm not in a battle. I'm not in a fight. Um. So it's not gonna tell you. I think that's why they remind they kind of want you to have had the experience semi recently. I can't speak towards the quality of the game just yet. As far as the story goes, I can tell you that I mean the world it's gorgeous. The music is fantastic, and the fighting feels great, just like in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's not gonna be any different than that. You probably won't even notice the fact that there have been some enhancements to the engine, and not because they're not there, but because when you were playing that game already looked so beautiful in your head that to
Mhm.
be able to tell the difference, you will have to be doing a digital foundry comparison side by side of these things to be able to, oh, I see now I can actually count the porous on Barrett's face if I wanted to do that.
Wow.
you know. Um and that's not a spoiler. There are cameos, not directly Like I haven't had any cameos where I interact directly with any of the characters of Avalanche or anything like that. Perhaps I'm saying too much. I'm gonna stop.
I was gonna say, I was literally saying, sir.
I said Barrett, but non-spoiler alert. Final Fantasy VII has a Barrett. All right. For those who are like shocked at the fact that I just peeled that out, there is a Barrett on Final Fantasy VII. All right, deal with it. No, but in all seriousness, the game feels great. The people that have actually played it already so far, the consensus is that yes, you absolutely want to play this game. If you like Final Fantasy VII Remake, if you didn't care for it, then I don't think this is gonna
I don't see you
change your mind because let's face it, I kind of forgot the level of awkwardness that was the dialogue in this game, and I remember it being sort of terrible, and this DLC stays very true to its source material.
Well, at least you're consistent.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, I expected to really dislike the character of Yuffie just because I was like, oh god, I can already if they did what they did with Aerith, on Final Fantasy VII Remake and a lot of the other characters, I can't even fathom to hear fucking Yuffie. She's gotta sound like La Chilindrina or something like that. I don't know. Like I was kind of concerned. Thankfully though, it's bearable.
That's not good, but it's not horrible.
it's not horrible. It's still all right. It's still okay. No, I'm also early. I was concerned with so I'm gonna just play as Yuffie for the entire campaign, and this is actually not a spoiler because they showed this on gameplay reels and no, maybe the trailer showed it, but if not, it's not a big deal. It's just I'm just saying you get to, even though you have Yuffie as a main character, you do get helpers, people that fight with you. Now you don't get direct control over them like you used to be able to on the other on Remake.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you're not just fighting everyone just by yourself. I can tell you that the fighting with Yuffie, and her throwing star is ridiculously fun. It's very cool.
It's a lot. Okay.
Yeah. It's almost a little bit hack and slashy almost, and at first I was worried, but then I realized like, oh shit, I'm kind of enjoying this. And it's not easy at all. Like I already died in one battle that I had. And I'm only put like maybe 3 or 4 hours, to it. And because again, it expects you to know already, like you start the game, Yuffie's already level 25. So it tells you like, oh no, this is no novice. This is, even though Cloud, he's a freaking soldier, and he's level 1 when you start playing it, or level 5 or something like that. You start from the beginning.
I think it was 1. Yeah,
I think it was 1. Okay, yeah. You're already level 25.
No. I take that back. He wasn't because, well, I'm thinking of the original, so I assume that's the same thing. He wasn't because he was level 5 because he was level 1 in the flashback. In the flashback,
oh
yeah.
There you. Oh shit! Did you notice that? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. It's because he only had like 140 HP, something ridiculous, bro. It was like,
holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. That's cool. That's cool to know. I didn't even notice that. All right. So yeah. Thumbs up. I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to go back. I'm glad that I'm playing something again. in that world because, like I said, I really really enjoyed that world. The game does this thing where probably you better than I will recognize the music that is that is playing because it plays it very differently. Obviously modernized, but then you're like, oh, that's that song. That's
Oh.
that's or something like that, It's like, oh my god, that's an awesome rendition of that. So it does that very, very well, very well. I did enjoy that. Oh, and one last thing about it. So the game, I guess, in order to expand it a little bit more, it has its own tabletop game. I'm gonna call it. It's not because it's not a card game, but it's one of those mini games.
It's a mini game, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing mini game, yeah.
It's an ongoing mini game, yeah, where you challenge a bunch of people, and you're expected to like collect stuff and make yourself better. And it's called Fort Condor. And
yes. Okay.
Yeah, so it plays like actually I can't compare it to any type of specific mobile games, but I feel like I've seen this in some sort of mobile form. I can also see it becoming actually something outside the game.
I'm sure that's what they're looking for. I mean,
yeah, kind of like when.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I was just gonna say, look, Square Enix press conference. Somebody want to throw a prediction in there?
Fort Cons, because I mean, yeah, it's so right for like, and buy your booster packs and shit like that. It's like I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it. That's okay because we're getting a battle royale out of them on the Final Fantasy universe for some fucking reason. So in the Fort Condor game, I'm gonna leave it to you to discover what it is. It's not like particularly like, oh my god, this is a game changer or anything like that, but it is entertaining. It doesn't feel throwaway. It feels like something that okay, if I want to spend more time on the game, I could probably follow. It is interesting. It's an interesting little thing, to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're feeling like a completionist.
Okay.
So okay, that's all for games. All right, done with games. Now I haven't watched any movies, but I watched one thing. I watch a series, and that series is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Woo! So
about that.
About that. So Falcon is Winter Soldier. I watched WandaVision and I held on watching this one because I was psyched up by WandaVision. I went back in and rewatched the entire the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in the sequence of events, rather than the sequence of reviews. And now it's like, okay, I'm down, I'm ready. I already know. I already have a better understanding of what happened. I'm ready for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, as most of my movie and series reviews, I'm going to divide it into good, bad, and ugly. All right. So, let's start with the good. All right. So, the good. And that was the good. So at least it's something.
Yeah, I mean,
now,
obviously, yeah, it's something to hang on to.
Unfortunately, there's a reason why the good is not as extensive, I would say, as our discussion that we just had, right? And like I said, I was very excited to watch this at the WandaVision because it was gonna. I landed squarely in the event after the blips, and I wanted to know what happens next, right? ladies and gentlemen of this Tribune, let me say that my words will never be enough to emphasize how trash and completely incompetent I found this piece of garbage to be. And I'm not exaggerating. I did not coin this phrase. And by the way, I hate to steal it from you because I know you enjoyed it when you heard it. But I don't exaggerate when I tell you that this series is the quintessential definition of studio malpractice.
Oh, I love that one.
I started to watch this with hopes that I was gonna get, some insight into the quote unquote real world of the MCU, after the events of the blip, without the craziness of, god entities, robots, or wizards. Maybe even some fun cameos, right? But no. What I get, and this is very personal because I know some people have enjoyed this piece of trash. What I get, and by the way, don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil anything for those who haven't seen it. But what we get besides the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a discount brand superhero, a pointless terrorist group. And when I say pointless, I mean like weak motivations, no plans. And by the way, the leader is the most boring, uncharismatic, and silly to have ever been casted in the role. Child. I mean, not literally like a child, but I mean, I don't know. This character could probably pose as a minor when you see her. And by the way, get this: the worst character in the movie, or one of the worst characters in the movies. And when I say worst, I don't mean like I hated his acting or anything like that. I'm just saying one of the worst characters in the movies in general is actually the best character in this series. So that should tell you. That should set the tone. This entire season, which, by the way, it mercifully was comprised of only 6 episodes. It basically had me and my wife constantly asking ourselves, like, who wrote this? Which, by the way, as a side note, I did research who wrote this. And it was a person named Malcolm Spellman, who is an American screenwriter and producer, best known for his work on Empire, which came out in 2015, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, 2021. There were 3 other things that were attributed to him, but they were not really worth mentioning. So, and the ugly, because I want to keep it short. This series will probably continue, and that's too bad. Like,
it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
For some reason, it's not over yet.
Like Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, I am relegated to push this memory, this fan fiction deep into my subconscious, where it will hopefully be forever suppressed. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is now streaming on Disney Plus.
Oh my God. We're not supporting it, though. That's for sure. It's not sponsored in any way.
No. If you haven't realized by now, I hated it. This is clearly a 1. On our score, that means really awful.
Really awful. The first really one, awful. Guys. The first one. I'm actually pretty excited that we got a first one. I'm gonna.
We got our first one for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's only because the floor doesn't get any lower than 1.
There is no 0.5.
I fucking hated this.
0. Yeah.
It was so disappointing. It was so bad that I started getting. And again, I'm not telling you not to watch. I'm not telling you guys not to watch it, although you shouldn't watch it. But you should watch it and make your own opinions. I mean, some people might like it. I mean, just like some people like black licorice. It's like, what are you going to do about it? It's like, it is what it is.
Some
It is
people
what,
just like the taste of crap. I mean, what are you
some
gonna do?
people like Twizzlers. I mean, what is that all about?
Hey,
Come on.
Twizzlers are good. All right, I will have words with you, sir.
I rest my case.
He's just going down the line of candy. One of these candies he's gonna like, and I'm gonna be able to use this line. Well, sir, I am. I'm sorry you didn't like it. For the record, actually, I thought it was okay. But for the record, it's got. I mean, maybe more better reviews than I think it probably should have.
I noticed that too.
Overall, yeah,
and I was and I was kind of angry because I was like, well, obviously I'm the abnormal person on this world, and I don't know that should bother me because I've known that all my life. But
well, usually you're along with the audience score with many things. This one particular, if you're just
Right.
just going by one source, and that's Rotten Tomatoes, has a 72 audience score with an 89 critic score. So it's obviously that those are not the highest scores of any kind, but they are considered.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They're not trash. You know,
They're not trash.
I'm telling you that it's trash. That this thing's trash. But
regardless of what these say,
it's not, what they say. You know, this is. I think I described it to a person that who is a real like Disney fan. I think I described it to her as unwatchable.
Real Disney fan. Okay.
This is well what I mean is like she's like super into like Disney stuff. It's like Disney can almost do no wrong, you know. And she even agreed in some cases. It's like, yeah, this was kind of pointless. She still liked it though, and like you, she thought it was okay. You know, I was hoping for okay. I'll be okay with okay. Listen, I watched the Hulk for the first time in my life. The MCU Hulk. I thought it was okay. I actually thought it was more than okay. I think I liked it a little bit more than that. But I was okay with okay. I'm okay with okay. But no, this thing, and it was just me and you know my wife. Sweetest person. She could have opinions when it comes to some series, and more often than not, we don't. You know, we might not be in the same like that. She might like stuff that I don't like, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But like we were like both of us, we were like, when is this gonna end? Like we watched episode 5, and when it finished, it was like, wait, that's not it. Like, is there more? Because we thought that we had watched 6 episodes, and then we realized that there was one more, and we were both like, oh, okay, no, we'll do this tomorrow.
I'm not putting myself through this anymore.
No. No.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. So, real quick, before we move on, I just wanted to ask, considering your feelings towards WandaVision and how pleased you were with that, and I was actually pretty surprised with it. I didn't think it was going to be anything. And your feelings to Falcon and Winter Soldier and how crappy that is. Where are you with your expectations for Loki? And even more importantly, will you even bother?
No, I will bother. I mean, I have to. I need to know this. I'm paying for Disney Plus, all right? So I need to justify it. I need to justify it with something, you know. And you know what? And WandaVision was a high for me. The WandaVision. I scored it at 4. So that should tell you how much I enjoyed it. I also not expecting, because again, the character. You know, yes, Scarlet Witch was like she was a cool character, but not to the levels of the others. So I never like really pay attention. Same thing with Vision. Like I didn't care much about Vision. It's a robot. Like who cares? But then you see him on all the later movies, and you're like, oh, okay, no, this is a character. It'll be interesting to explore his character. Oh no, wait, he died on on fucking
Spoilers.
No, on freaking well, yeah, I guess if you haven't watched if you haven't watched the MCU, then I guess we can edit that part. The MCU, what's the name of that movie? Fuck.
Oh my god, the
Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Endgame yet, like, what are you doing listening to a podcast that has to do with pop culture and
Yeah.
video games? Because
Yeah,
that's
we'll
just
be
bound to happen, you know?
speaking
Not
pretty
maliciously,
loosely.
but
Yeah. No,
movies
I mean
being
not
out.
maliciously, but we can
No, no,
definitely
no.
be
No, 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 no.
okay.
Spoiler alert! Winter Soldier is garbage. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is garbage. Actually, you know what? Both characters are fuck both characters, because I thought I was expecting a lot more from Falcon than what he got delivered. I didn't watch a thing just to be lecture at one point. It's like, no, fuck that. And then the Winter Soldier is like, dude, you're just boring. And there's just nothing exciting about you. And I'm sorry, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU, but it's not because of you.
It just happens to have your name. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking now. I'm gonna let you roll with the rest, please. Because I think I made this long enough.
Well, so as far as gaming, I beat the first Mass Effect on the Legendary
What?
Edition.
Fine, first time.
First time.
How many
ever.
times are you gonna replay it again?
Never again, sir.
So you hated it.
I didn't hate it. But I definitely it is definitely a product of its time. And I think I said this when I was mentioning, even with the Legendary Edition, everybody, or not everybody, a lot of places saying, "Oh man, that's the one that they really did a lot of work to." This and that. I'm like, yes, but since I never played the original, I only have this to go by, and it's not.
This is not gonna. Yeah. So, in any way, he's gonna. Move
I have no basis of comparison, so it's just okay. I like the story. I didn't. you can tell again. You can tell that the game is a little bit older. It would cut, hard cuts on some of the cut scenes. And it just felt like, oof, this needed a little bit more work. But again, product of its time. Did enjoy it. Spoilers here for Mass Effect 1. I did, Caden did make it, which is exactly how I did it in the comic. I was like, yeah, and now when he was trying to hit on FemShep, I was like, no, bro, no.
No, bro.
Now you must go.
Listen, Lieutenant, I'm gonna bite it. I'm gonna need you to step aside and wear that red shirt for a reason that will become very clear later on in the game.
Exactly. And when you hear gunfire, I need you to run towards it. Thank you. That's an order. That's an order.
Exactly. That's an order. Exactly. Front line. Yeah, oh! I'm so sorry. Completely unrelated question. I did not want to forget to ask you. What did you score Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I don't recall, bro. I don't recall. It was probably either 2.5 or 3. Okay. Somewhere around there.
I just wanted to compare with what I scored. Okay.
The comparison, yeah. All right. I mean, it doesn't matter. It got a good score versus a not good score.
Not good score. Yeah. And Mass Effect and go.
Yeah. So overall, got the relationship with Liara going, which was also very. It was always very.
Oh yeah.
How do I say it without sounding silly? But it was the relationship, the way they spoke to each other. I was just like, this is actually all right. It's cool. I like this. Anyway, overall, the story with Saren was good.
Right, it was good. I thought so.
It was good. It wasn't. Again, spoilers here for Mass Effect 1. This is something that I guess can happen. The console's gone. They in my I did not do anything to save them.
So shit! The console. Oh, yeah. I think I did. I might have actually. Well, with the exception of Liara, because she was too obvious of a choice. I think everything else I set up like you did. What you did about the Ragni Queen.
We let her go.
Really?
I didn't want to at first.
That species does not exist on my world.
No, we let her go. And what was the other thing with Rex? I was able to talk him off the ledge, And so he calmed the hell down
Aw,
and
look at you, Mister
he
Goody
joined
Two Shoes.
the yeah. Well, I mean, it was either that because this is the thing is like when you see it happen, you're like that the obvious choice here is like okay, you're either going to as a leader try your best
Mhm.
to calm him down, or you're going to say
Good
fuck
listen.
this because you're that type of leader. Like, look, it's what I say and that's it. You know what I mean? And that's not a good leader. So
Yeah.
it's like, no, man, I get it, bro. I get you want the genophage cure and all that stuff, but this is Saren we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? He's not really trying to save you. So let's call it what it is, and it worked. So it was like, all right, cool. Now shut the fuck up and get in line like everybody else. So anyway, so that was the guy. I would score that easily. I would say a 3. I'm gonna 3.0 that one. It's just it was good. You know, what I mean, it was nothing really wrong with it. Some technical issues. The story had me going. That's really why I kept playing. I love
Yeah.
going to the different worlds. That's always been it's always been the thing I loved about Mass Effect is the ability to go to different planets, and it would be so different. And you're really just kind of exploring. Now with Mass Effect 1, every place had the same layout, and it was just like, okay, so
Mhm.
where everything is. It's just like it's just running through the thing at that point. Because
Yeah.
I mean, not every single thing, but if you're going to this kind of base, it's going to look like this. If you're going to board
Mhm.
this ship, it's going to have this layout. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
just it was very.
Back in the day, BioWare was very into like copy paste worlds,
That's
and
definitely copy
I
paste
mean,
for
it
sure.
was we accepted it because it was still something new at that time,
True,
and
true, yeah, true.
and I mean, we're scoring a game that easily would have been almost a fucking. I mean, this game got like incredible accolades back in the day
Oh no, for
because of
sure.
what
And
it
I'm not
was, you know.
I don't doubt it that it
But
would because of the way the story played out, and it was very, like I
yeah,
said, it was enjoyable. I enjoyed the characters. It's definitely, no, starting with Mass Effect 2 and knowing how the characters really get fleshed out in Mass Effect 2, it's the
hmm
reason
hmm
why when I go back to it, I'm like, okay, so we are it's very superficial in the sense that okay, we're getting to know each other, but like when Caden tries to make his move with the captain, and it's just like,
uh-huh.
dude, we've had like 3 conversations, and we're come to, how do we just jump to that? So it just
Right,
feels like it
right.
was purposely put in there, and so that's why I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then um, some of the reactions to certain stuff, again, it felt abrupt because it just the game. You mentioned it being long. I'm like, it's not really that long. I think it only took me like 20
No,
something hours to complete, and I did a
yeah,
lot of it.
yeah. I think
So
in retrospect, I was thinking more in the scope. Like that game, I divide that game when I'm thinking of the Mass Effects. I always have to put Mass Effect One like separate because the experience was so different from two and three. Like
yeah,
two and three are more close together than what one was. I mean, even with the fixes now, the fixes try to give it a little bit of consistency with two and three,
mhm.
but I mean, Mass Effect One was a completely entirely different thing that you were playing in such a different way. I mean, you were playing it more methodically, more slow. The battles were slower because you were pausing, you were making choices, you were. It was not shooty like this version is, and I feel like
This version
the fact
is
that they made it
shooty
very
shooty.
shooty,
Yeah, and it's
yeah, it kind
definitely
of
not
speed
well
things up
done.
because
Yeah,
you do want to speed things up
but it's
to
not well
get
done
to
in
the
the end.
good ones. But yeah,
Yeah, in the end, I guess that does speed it up a little bit. Again, I have to probably look at actual gameplay of the original to see, but it is, and you command your people to do something, and sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. It's just like, and
yep,
then, and
that's
then they're
pretty Mass
getting in the
Effect.
way. I'm like, dude, I
A
know you
feature.
see me shooting here. What the fuck? Why are you standing in front of me? And so yeah, so all those little things. I did jump into Mass Effect 2 only to do the intro because I remember how freaking awesome that intro is, and it is still
Yes.
freaking awesome.
One of the best intros in
Yeah,
gaming,
for
bar
sure,
none.
for
Yes.
sure,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it has competition now, but it's still holding its own.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, it's still
it's
throwing
still one of
punches.
the most memorable and easily. Uh,
Absolutely, man.
and I did it, and it looks good. I'm like, okay, and I literally just backed out. I was like, okay, just the intro. Spoilers for Mass Effect 2 here, but when she get basically she's floating into the planet. You know she's gonna fucking burn to a crisp. That's essentially no, that's not where I left off.
Dude,
It jumped over to when she got put together, and now I just did a little bit of combat, and I was like, oh, this feels so much better.
feels better.
The other one, my God.
Dude, imagine the reveal of Mass Effect 2, you being presented with that little playthrough version of the beginning part of it, and being left at that point where the fucking what's the name of the ship
The
again?
ship, yeah, the ship destroys the Normandy.
The Normandy, the fucking Normandy, that has been your home. Yeah, it just blows up, and then titles shows up, and that's where you're left, and now you have to wait for the game to come out. Like
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's the
that.
best way to get the appetite. You know what I mean for the
Tell me
game.
about it,
Yeah.
man. There people saw that, they were left. They came out of that presentation, because I'm remembering the the people from like mostly IGN back in the day when I used to follow them. They came out of that presentation going like, "Holy fuck!" And like, you won't even believe when you see what happens here. Like,
Yeah.
you're not even got like, yeah,
You're not even
yeah,
ready.
you're not even ready, and you weren't, because when it happens in the game, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
And I mean,
it's definitely one of the most memorable for sure. But I backed out of it. I just did it just to kind of whet the appetite and know what I'm gonna do next. And the reason I backed out of it is because I jumped into Ratchet and Clank.
yes, you
Yeah,
did.
Rift Apart. Yeah.
A
um,
rift a rift apart.
yes. It is obviously the most recent PlayStation 5 only release. And it's funny because it's
The
one of
last one of his type.
the last one
Oh,
of its kind, yeah. At least for a while. It is definitely it's funny because it's one of the it's weird. I almost did this as an experiment, which is kind of a costly experiment for the record. But I did it as an experiment because I was like, okay, I need to see what this is about. And I need to see because everything has been I haven't read reviews, but you get those little snippets here and there, and it's like, it's talking about how this is why this is the type of games you're expecting now. So I'm like, well, shit. I mean,
Mm,
I've already played Returnal, and I'm amazed by Returnal. And I haven't played Demon Souls, but I hear very good things about it. You know what I mean? Same thing where it's like it's amazing. The way it looks and everything. But did it push anything as far as can this run anywhere else? I don't know. It's questionable. I don't think Returnal could run on PlayStation 4, and if it did, it would stutter. But as
mm.
far as this, I was like, okay, I want to see what this is about. And funny because Ratchet and Clank is not it's not one of the franchises I float. I've literally only played the 2016 remake of the very first one. That's it. I've never played any other one. I was one of those that played Jack and Daxter instead. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot here. And I mean, up front, it looks fucking amazing. it,
Oh,
it
I bet.
really, it is. I think it's the closest, if not, it's either the closest or we are already there because it's difficult to see where you're literally playing, an animated film or a Pixar
Yeah,
film.
are you
You
gonna
know what
say
I
a
mean?
big?
It's like it's
Oh,
just
I'm
ridiculous,
gonna tell
absolutely.
you.
And I'm
I'm gonna tell
playing
you a little
this.
secret of that. Every time we say that, Pixar moves the needle
It moves a
farther
little more.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so that those are big words, but they're still ring true.
Yeah. If you go back to say A Bug's Life, you know what I mean. It's like we're past. This game is
Yeah.
past A Bug's Life. You know what I mean. So,
Yes.
yeah, no, it is. It's just gorgeous. I'm playing on performance RT mode, which is the higher resolution, but not 4K with ray
Ray
tracing, and
tracing.
it's just wonderful to fucking see and experience. I love the sounds. I'm already loving the different guns that I've collected. I'm loving the action of it. I remember not being too pulled in from the gunplay because I felt it always kind of felt silly, I guess. But here
Mhm.
I'm like, it still feels silly because you have some of the silly weapons and stuff like that. But so far, by the way, I'm only like 2 hours in, so I'm like, not even that far.
Okay, early
But
on.
I'm loving that so far. I am loving the Rift thing, and I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where, okay, they say there's a lot of processing power in the background, and I have to assume because I really don't know how that works. But it is very seamless. It's just like,
Mhm.
whoa, you're zipped there. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. It just the story's a little bit more intriguing, as I didn't really care for the 2016 story. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, I was
right now,
a
if you were
little
to
too
ask me,
childish.
yeah, if you were to ask me right now, I'd be like, I couldn't even tell you what the fuck was going on. You know what I mean? I
No.
don't have no recollection of that. Here so far, I get it. This is very this may even be in the trailer, but this is very early, where it's is some sort of celebration for Ratchet, and Clank wants to give him something, and it becomes this thing, and it is. I cannot express how beautiful this game is. I really can't. I'm like, man, this really looks good. Like, I was just entranced. Right. I think my wife was talking to me about something
Yeah, I
at some
heard you
point,
say
and I
the
was just
exact
like,
same thing about Returnal, though.
the yeah, but this has color. You know what I mean? This has
Yes.
this has lots of vibrant colors. You have to admit, Returnal does look good for what it is because it's doing its Prometheus slash Alien thing. But in the
Mhm.
end, it's a limited palette of colors.
It's muted.
Here,
Yeah.
it's not. It's like, dude, it's every shade other than the rainbow turned up to 10. I'm like, damn. Sometimes I'm looking, I'm like, is that even moving? That does move. I could just move. Oh, wow. That actually is a thing. It's really good, man. And
Mhm.
so again, early, I'm enjoying it. Um, it's doing the haptic feedback with the guns. One of them is like a version of a shotgun where if you do the half pull, it shoots just one of the shells. If you use the full pull, it shoots both of them at one shot.
I
It's
love that they're doing that. Yeah.
Me too, and it's all these little things that it's doing. With the controller and everything, it's really good stuff, man. So I'm just like, I'm a little bit bummed because I don't know what to expect now from first party, because I'm like, are they going to include this stuff? But at the same time, I'm
Well,
like,
the reason why we're having this topic
yeah, yeah,
is a
exactly.
little bit about
Uh,
that.
so, well, we'll put a pin in that for now. But overall, very impressed with it. Um, I don't know if anybody's into this type of games. If you are, then and you happen to have a PlayStation 5, you owe yourself to freaking play this because it's really good.
Do I need to
Um,
do I need to get it? And considering that I like the idea what the original game was doing, but the original, sorry, the
yeah, yeah,
2016
2016. Mhm.
was doing, and that game was beautiful. I was excited to actually be able to play the game at 60 frames per second, and finally, even though they patched the 460 on PS4 Pro, but I never tried it. But then I played it and I found it a little stiff and a little like, I don't know if, and
I
also
think,
like the story, it was like, I don't know.
yeah, I think the main difference here is what appears to be a much higher level of epicness. Epic?
Okay.
We could just call it epic. In the sense that everything feels grand, everything
Hmm.
feels big. Set
Okay.
pieces are like major looking set pieces where I'm like, this is not the Ratchet and Clank that I remember from 2016. It is nowhere near that. I'm like, this is actually doing stuff that, it's almost got set pieces like out of Uncharted or something. Like, you're like, whoa, this
Wow.
is actually rolling pretty well. And so is it something I say you should do? If you like Ratchet and Clank, and if you enjoyed it for what it was, I thought it was okay, the
Mhm.
2016, and here I am enjoying this one much. But like, I don't want to say I pushed myself through the 2016 one, but I don't think I had anything else to play, and I was just, well, I have it, let me just get into it. And I just kind of, because at some point, some of those type of games can just be a little mindless. You're just kind of running around shooting stuff,
Right,
which is,
running around. Yeah, it looks
yeah,
pretty and it's fun.
yeah.
Did you
So
beat that
here, at
game?
least, huh? No,
Did
I
you?
think I got close to. I don't remember. I don't think I beat it, but I got pretty far into it,
Mm,
but again, like I said, it just didn't hold, and I think something else came out. So I was like, well, I'm moving on. Sorry, because it's not holding my attention.
right.
Here it is. There's this cool little moment, and Oh, I don't know if you saw, because I actually did. I post a video? Right? I think I posted the video.
No, I haven't watched. I saw that
So
you posted it, but I haven't
yeah,
watched.
it's no spoilers and like that. You can definitely watch it. It's just this cool moment where I just stop the character and he just walks into this club and you hear the music and the controllers going. I'm like, okay, this is pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean? And you go in and you see it just to look at how it's how what's happening on the screen. It's just like, man, they really it appears that they've added a little bit more of that really epic feeling of a grand adventure
Right.
into what they're doing here, and so far so good. So,
Cool.
but we'll see. You know, more to come. That's again just a couple hours in. I don't think it's going to fall apart by the end, but we'll see how the story goes.
It doesn't
uh,
have. It doesn't have to. It might be like, you might discover that this is kind of childish,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is my concern.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of childish, I've watched a few movies this week, and I'll go through a couple of them quickly. I saw Ryan the Last Dragon on Disney
Oh,
Plus. Yeah,
Raya, Raya.
Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yep,
My
saw
wife and I
that.
watched it because they finally came part of the service. I don't have to pay no fucking $30 to watch it,
Nope,
and
and I sure didn't either.
the yeah, and to be fair, I mean, if you like these kind of movies, then you'll be okay with it. But overall, I thought it. First off, I mean, gorgeous. Can I say gorgeous? That's a freaking like a really, really, really good looking film. It is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really beautifully animated film overall, with like the backgrounds and everything, the way it looks. Characters were okay. I'm not sure if I care for the look of some of them. They almost feel very, I don't say simple, but just not at, I mean, not that I'm expecting like Final Fantasy, levels of detail in a character's face or
No.
anything like that. But, it still has that Disneyness to it, I guess. Um, the
Disney.
characters are pretty good. The story's actually okay. It is, you can kind of, the story actually, the story harkens some serious Last Airbender vibes. Okay, it
Yes, it
almost
does.
starts like that. I was like, oh my god, can you be any more obvious on where you're aping here? Like, geez. But anyway, it's like I said, enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think it's my main issue.
Mhm,
Like, it has these moments where I'm like, okay, I can let that go. Okay, I can. And then you have these other
mhm,
moments you're like, I cannot let that go. The whole baby
mm.
thing, I was just like, no,
Yeah, the thing with the
no.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I
like
mean, and
you trying
it
too
just kept
hard.
going. So there's a spoilers. There's a baby, and then there's monkeys, and it's just like, okay, so I have to believe that this infant, because it's an infant. It's one thing if it's a little kid, but it's an
Mhm,
infant. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Is able to do all the things that he's doing or she's
Yeah,
doing. I was just like, no. I was like, you have a good thing going here. Add a little bit more realism. Now you throw that in there, and I get why they're doing it. It is Disney,
it's a Disney
but
moment.
it's
It's
a
a
Disney,
Disney
yeah.
thing.
And then
Yeah.
suddenly it's like, oh, I can't. So any moment that included that, except for the obvious connection between that baby and another character, which I felt was a little bit, okay, I get it. Other than that, I do like the message. I get the message.
Mhm,
It's one of those messages that's very difficult to do. It's about trust, trusting someone you don't trust. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
it's the message you want to bring into a world that's split in half right now. So
Yes.
like I get it.
Yeah,
A little
yeah,
on the nose, perhaps. Still something
yes.
that there were some moments where I got a little glassy eyed. I was like, okay, yeah, that was cool. You know what I mean? But overall, like I give it easily. That is probably, I'm gonna say it was okay. I'm gonna say it was okay.
Mhm.
I feel like yeah, I'm gonna say it was okay. Oh no, it was good. Wait, what's three again? Three is okay, right? Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
I literally just closed that out to because I figured, oh, we're not gonna use it anymore because I can never fucking remember. So I always have it like front
Oh
and
no.
center when I'm talking about my part. And so a three is
Good. It's
it's
good.
good.
It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
good. Yeah.
I can support that statement. It's
It's
good.
our safe. It's our safe. It's the
It is. I
safest.
mean, that's the thing. It doesn't do anything to merit really good. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's definitely not mediocre.
It is
So
not
you know,
mediocre,
it's
right?
not a mediocre. So and you can't just the visuals alone push it past mediocre. There's just no way.
Right.
But so anyway, Watched it, enjoyed it. I rewatched Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 and
Ah.
still love that series of movies. You know what I mean? It's as time goes by, a little of the silliness comes in. Just like, okay, this is kind of silly. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit.
I'm
It's still
completely
fucking
down with
cool.
this
Yeah.
silliness.
As silly as this is, yeah,
I'll take
that baby and
it.
Raya is stupid, but this is hilarious. I love this. You know, but anyway, so yeah, so I'm not gonna
Uh,
stick with Kill Bill or say anything other than I'm glad I watched it. It's on HBO Max if nobody owns it. But yeah, I
I
watched it.
believe you watched it. I mean, was it anything that impulsed you, or like, oh, it's
Dude,
on
no,
HBO Max?
I've been craving a rewatch for a while. It's one of those things where I'm like,
Oh,
oh, I need,
okay.
and HBO Max is fucking smart. It like knows me already. So hey, this just came in, and it just literally came in recently to HBO Max. This
Uh-huh.
just came in. This
You're
came
like,
in. And I saw it.
oh,
I'm like,
okay.
oh yeah, I need to rewatch that. That's that thing. And so every so
Yes.
often, so you know, cuando there's time that I have to myself because I know Joe doesn't watch it, and I don't want to go blowing one of my choices on this. so, so,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
yeah.
This is just a me, my time. I'll do it myself.
Uh,
Anyway, and then finally I saw
oh.
In the Heights, which just came out
Oh man, I saw that.
yesterday or the day
I
before.
was I saw you posted that. I was like, that movie's out. Damn it. I would have loved to talk about that movie in the podcast, but now I guess I'm gonna have to wait next week.
Yeah, you're probably
You already now
so.
you're gonna spoil it all for me now,
No,
and I'm
no,
gonna
I'm
be
not.
like, oh.
I'm not gonna spoil them. First off, I'm gonna just stay off the back that I really, really, really enjoyed this movie, but I have to preface this up by saying I think I have a bigger connection to it. I think most may have,
Right.
um, and Muse, Dream Twister. No, you probably have some connection to it as well. It is very, uh, like ingrained into the New York urban Latino culture, and
Yeah.
it just oozes it. And there's just I could not help but smile whenever I saw something familiar and something else that happened. Like, oh, I remember the block when they used to do that. It just made me smile every time. You know what I mean? And I was just like, it in many ways made me miss the city we were ready to run out of at one point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it really does, emphasize Washington Heights and everything that's going. So that's the heights that they're referring to for the record. Washington Heights, which is in New York. It is the towards the very top of Manhattan, the island of Manhattan, and like literally right across this small little bridge is the Bronx. You know what I mean? So it's
Uh,
they're right next to each other. And so it is. The music is great. Um, it's got its really great moments, and I really really enjoyed it. It has a little bit of cringe here and there. Nothing that breaks it, but definitely someone that go, oh man, is that what you know? But then you go, was that the original thing? I don't know. Maybe it was. Some really good visuals also, because it
oh.
does do some tricks when it does the singing numbers.
Uh,
Um, I'm trying to think. You probably saw this in the trailer where you see these huge things of cloth coming down from the sides of the buildings. That's just an example of something that kind of occurs. But it has a moment where I'm not gonna lie, I was just like, oh my god, I can't watch this anymore. this is this is already too sad. We need to pause. I need to go wipe my face. You know what I'm saying? So and I know that everybody's gonna. I know that everybody's gonna. Okay, so compared to Hamilton, and I was like, no, no,
you
guys,
know
no.
what? Like that was gonna be my next question. I was like, no, man, that's fucking too obvious and on
Yeah,
the
no.
nose.
I
We're
mean,
not gonna.
it is the thing that everybody's going to do because it's like, well, we know Hamilton. Lin Manuel Miranda's Hamilton is it's top notch. It's something. If
Yes,
we were to give it the score that I think
that's
we'd
a
both
fucking
give it a
five.
five.
That's
An
a
easy
fucking
five.
five.
Yeah, yeah.
Easy.
So yeah, easy five. So is it? And but you look at it. Okay, so but they're both musicals. You know,
Mhm.
but is it fair to compare them? And honestly, I think it's not. If I can give the score, and I'm usually going to say that this will be a 4.5 for me. That doesn't mean
Okay.
it's worse than Hamilton. I don't feel you can compare the two. First off, Hamilton, the beauty of Hamilton is how timeless the story is because it's about America's history. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just told in a certain way that
And there's also a
helps
lot that
connect.
they do on a fucking stage.
Exactly, exactly. And on top of that, it's all on stage. Here, this is an actual film. You have
Mm.
not sets, but you're out in the street and doing stuff. And the music is like I said, it's good, very Latino heavy. You got a lot of salsa going in all the time. There's a lot of dancing,
They're
which
probably
obviously
gonna throw some reggaeton at some point there. I know. I just know it.
it probably has like one or two moments, but nothing much. It's usually
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right. I'm
it's
all in
usually
then.
there is, but if you know that hip hop's involved because again, this is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah,
He brings that flavor to it. So yeah, I don't want to compare it. I think it's great. I think it stands on its own as something amazing. I will watch it again. We're gonna watch it again. It's only available for 30 days anyway on HBO Max.
I need to
So we're
watch it
probably gonna watch it as many times as
for
we
the
can
first time.
between now and the time it comes off.
There you go. Attaboy.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think there is some surprises in it. There's some comparisons. You'll start looking at characters going, I know someone just like that. You know what I mean? I know you're just gonna do it, and you can make you. It's gonna make you laugh and smile at the same time because like, I get where they're going with it. It feels like the
uh,
broad brush that they're doing, but
uh,
you yourself as a Latin man will pinpoint it because you have someone like that
yeah,
in your family or friends or something like that, and the connections that people make. I don't know if
yes.
I know you were raised in Puerto Rico. I wasn't. I was raised in the Bronx, and so I see a lot of the stuff, the playing with the
Yeah, I would say you
hydrants and
have
all
a
that
lot
stuff.
more of the connection because I have family in New York and I went to New York a couple times, uh, but I don't have that level of like you lived it. Those were your streets, boy.
Yeah,
That was the stomping ground. So
yeah, and obviously it's a little bit more updated. I don't know if the original play has something to do with it. Probably does. The gentrification of Washington Heights.
mhm,
That's happening in a lot of cities nowadays. Where
mhm.
well, I don't have to explain how gentrification. You guys, you look the shit up. But anyway, it bring up a little bit of that in there, which makes sense because that's just. I mean, look at Brooklyn.
That's just what.
Brooklyn,
Yeah,
Brooklyn used to be one of the biggest ghettos, and it is
yes.
now impossible to buy a house there because you're gonna got to be able to afford it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway, In the Heights, excellent, 4.5, really really great,
I'm
and
glad to hear that. I'm happy to hear that.
and anyway, that's all I've been doing.
I can feel it coming over me. I feel it all around me. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. It's my destiny. There's no tide beside of me. It's waiting to come out now. No matter what, no matter how, I know I'll make it through somehow. 'Cause when the road feels so long, I'll still be home.
Actually, I'm gonna get this massive dump out of the way.
I mean, if you need time, I can wait. Just
Just
go do
realize
your thing. You don't have to ask permission.
that is not exactly how I wanted it to sound, and yet
I hope it got
it fits.
recorded.
It still fits, basically. It still fits. We're back, guys. And, it is time for the useless news that you can use, and I'm not
Oh,
sure.
you can use a lot of those.
Yeah, yeah. This is going to be a lot. There's something here for everyone, guys. Let me start off by saying there is a news piece that you're going to be able to drive away from this podcast. I'm not sure why I'm saying drive away podcast, but you know what I mean. With I don't know, with some appreciation. So
We have
uh,
everything from news, sport, and the weather on the ones.
the weather, the ones, six, and nines. Anyway, so we're going to start off here with a lot of information that got dropped here throughout the week for Netflix Geeked Week. Geeked as in past tense. Someone was geeked Netflix's Geeked Week, which they basically took a whole entire week to show off a lot of stuff that they have planned for their service.
Almost like they were planning it and squaring it along with E3. Well, E3 is happening the following week, so
yeah,
let's go ahead and get the headlines now.
People are already, paying attention to online. Let's just throw it in front of them. They'll see what.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost like it was planned. There's gonna be a lot of nerds checking their news feeds around this time.
Yeah. First and foremost, an update to Army of the Dead's prequel called Army of Thieves. So while talking about it, Zack Snyder
before they all die.
Yeah,
turning into zombies.
He let it slip that they're hoping to release the film's prequel, Army of Thieves, sometime this fall. That may not happen. Some reshoots, editing, and other hiccups could come up. If it does, however, Army of Dead fans won't have to wait long at all. Shadow and Bone is going to get a second season. Such a weird name. Anyway, if you this is separate from Shadow and Bones. If you ever wanted Ice Road Truckers, the movie, well, Liam Neeson and Netflix has you covered. They have a new film coming to the service called The Ice Road. How original.
That's what they're naming him now.
Yeah. There was a new Jean-Claude Van Damme movie called The Last Mercenary. Actually looked pretty interesting. I got a chance to look at it off air. Not much needs to be said here other than the fact is Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, the Brussels, the muscles from Brussels. Yeah. And he's in a movie and it's on Netflix. So just make it happen, guys. Just make it happen.
The 90s and the 2020s got mixed together suddenly.
Yeah, somehow.
What's happening?
Umbrella Academy season 3 has been more information was released on that, and I actually love Umbrella Academy. It's one of the if you haven't watched it, Umbrella Academy is basically it is an actual comic book, but the characters are have their own special powers and stuff like that. But it is definitely not for kids. So it's not as crazy as The Boys. But it rides the line pretty well, and so I enjoy it. It's very well written and acted, particularly by some of the young actors. I
always thought it was Resident Evil themed something.
Funny you should say that. But more on that later. Yes, I know. They show off some new footage for the movie called a series called The Sandman. Also, some images from season 5 of Money Heist, which is really called La Casa de Papel. Which is a great series. If you haven't watched, Sarah, you really should watch. I'm surprised Mrs. Santos has not jumped on that.
She probably doesn't know that it is good.
Yeah, it's in Spanish too. So but it's like Spain Spanish. So you still may need. I know I do. You still may need subtitles because I'm like, wait, what did they say? I'm not even sure how what they mean here. Some new actors have been announced for Stranger Things season 4. I'm not going to go through their names, but there's just some newer characters. So just more information. A release date has not been given for some reason, so I'm not sure what the holdup is. But if you wait too long, these kids are just going to be adults. So unless that's the point, but I guess we'll see more later on that. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling. I'm really just sticking to the major stuff. One big one, which I did enjoy, and I think you did until you turned up the volume, and that of course was Masters of the Universe Revelation, which will have Mark Hamill as Skeletor and Kevin Smith as well. Kevin Smith, he will play Kevin Smith. Wait, what the hell is this?
The Skeletor it's played by 2 people, I guess. That's
I guess so, yeah. Well, it looks that way, yeah. Anyway, it looked pretty good. It felt very of its time, which I guess is a good thing, particularly this song.
Yeah.
Because we all need a hero.
So the reason we made the joke of or I made the joke of Yeah, I was completely down with this until I raised up the volume because it's like, man, the trailer starts looking very cool, and then then you listen to the song that they have parodied, and it's like, I need a hero, and I was like, oh fuck that, come on, man, why would you do that to him, man? It's so dumb. I mean, it goes with it. Yes, I get
It
it. I get it.
really does go.
It
I
was
think
just
that's
dumb.
what caught me off guard the most is that I wasn't offended by it because I would normally be like, "Oh God, really?" But no, I was like, "Yeah, that kind of goes." I can't get angry at it. So, so anyway,
It was dumb.
it was a little stupid, but what else did they show? That Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, they actually showed an interesting clip which looked really good. That
So
actually
they have
is
that Resident Evil something.
yeah, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. That's the film that they're it's the animated film. Animated
Animated
series, excuse me, animated series, which stars
series.
Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield. And this will take after the events of obviously Resident Evil 4. That one is set to come out, and I don't have a release date, so they don't have it just yet. But it did look really good. Godzilla Singular Point, which is an animated series, also coming out. Bright Samurai Sword. So you remember Bright, right? The 2017 movie from Netflix, Bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an actual anime based on that movie. So yes, because somebody asked for this. I guess
there is such thing as too much Netflix. You are there are some, there's some projects that you cannot say. I mean, you know what? And I just saw I just saw a college humor skit of Nicolas Cage accepting every role of any movie that he's ever offered, and they were like the ridiculous movie. He'll be like, "Oh, I'm in. Yes, 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 yes." He'll say yes to everything. Well, I feel like Netflix is doing just that.
yeah.
Netflix is being Nicolas Cage now.
Yeah, but we've said it before. They're just greenlighting everything. I'm going to sort of rapid fire these here. Make My Day, which is another new anime series. Exception, which is a anime horror series. Eden Zero, which is a fantasy based series. So if you really look at it, they're just kind of covering every genre of anime here.
Yeah.
Mobile Suit Gundam, which that takes care of your mechs.
No, they have Gundam out. They're basically saying like, "Fuck you, Crunchyroll."
Yeah,
that's basically what they're doing.
Shaman King, which that takes you to your mystical, and then finally Zack Snyder is doing his own anime, of course, and that's of course Twilight of the Gods. Not much is known about that one there. What else? They showed off a teaser to The Witcher season 2, which I am very, very interested in.
Oh yes.
It just wrapped in April, and the series is. Do they have a date? They don't have a date here. But they did announce. I don't know why. Something called WitcherCon for July 9th, a partnership with CD Projekt Red, because that's who you want to partner with right now. There won't be a new Witcher game announced at the con. So again, that begs the question: why are we doing this?
Because it's a con.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see more of the series. They also announced off a spinoff for the Castlevania anime series, which is one of their better ones. They announced a Splinter Cell animated series.
That was weird to hear, but I was down. Yes.
Yep. Not sure why, but of course, this stars Sam Fisher, and I wonder if it will have the actor. I don't think so, but the actor as a voice actor.
I forgot his name.
Ironside, Michael Ironside.
There you go. Thank you. But yeah, I don't see how that particular series lent itself to an anime. I mean, it would have lended itself well to a movie, maybe a series or something like that. But
well, the only connection I can say, if they do something similar to Ghost in the Shell, Ghost in the Shell series, I've said it many a times, is excellent. Now their series are like 22 episodes long. It doesn't need to be that long. You do a nice 10, 12 episode series about a specific faction that is prepared to terrorize the world, and you send in Sam Fisher along with a team or something like that, and infiltrate. You can do a lot with it if you have Ghost in the Shell in the mind. And you can have it contained. They did say that the seasons will be self-contained in the sense that most likely every season will have its major, epic major event that he has to step in for, or something like that. And that's kind
the
of
event
like
of the week.
or in this case the season.
The event of the season,
yeah. And so I also think of the show 24, which I don't know if you ever watched that, but which also had the main character, Jack Bauer, you know
Jack
what I mean?
Bauer.
And every season was something he was working, to save the world. And
well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
This should have been more about. When you put it in like anime, it's kind of like,
I'll be the first one to say you can do.
I'm just saying it feels like out of place.
Okay, I see what you said. Do live action instead of anime.
I probably would have greenlit that if I was gonna greenlit anything. But hey, I'm still. I mean, Sam Fisher has been in retirement for way too long already.
This is true. And if we gotta get him back this way, I guess this is the only way.
Remind people that hey, there used to be another character. Remember?
Yeah, I feel. This is a sidebar. I feel like Ubisoft may drop some Splinter Cell stuff here. Not that the game's coming out, immediately or soon, but just to say, hey, they're working on it. They kind of tie it up real nice. But anyway, the next one is an interesting one. Adi Shankar's Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix.
It was bizarre and out of left field. What is, first of all, remind our audience, what is Blood Dragons, for those who don't know?
So Blood Dragon was an awesome spin-off from the Far Cry game. Literally the only Far Cry game I've ever played.
I was just going to say,
Far Cry 3, yeah. I've never played Far Cry 3, but I did play Far Cry Blood Dragon. And what was excellent about it was you didn't need the actual game. Like, you could just go buy Blood Dragon. It was like $15, and it was a solid 12 hour long game, which was great, man. It had these excellent cutscenes that looked like the old Ninja Gaiden, and it had humor, it had sex, it had it was like everything. Like there was a pixelated sex scene because it's an 80s movie and you gotta have it just has to be there, you know what I mean? So, which is the most ridiculous thing. So that's
everything was very neon-like.
Everything was neon-like. It was dark. It had the best intro, and I don't know if you have to have seen Predator. So you're in the chopper and you're about to get into the area that you need to get to, and they're playing the song from the group guys who were in the chopper in the beginning of the movie Predator, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's to say that this is Netflix didn't get an update on Devil May Cry series, which they first teased back in 2018, which is also Adi Shankar.
Wow.
Shankar is overseeing the Blood Dragon remix, a 6-episode adaptation of Far Cry 3 expansion Blood Dragon. Netflix also has at least one other Far Cry series in the works. Captain Laserhawk will be part of a shared universe of Ubisoft properties. So this kind of now makes sense when you see a movie that has Ubisoft in front of it. Comparing it to the Nintendo mashup Captain N, the Game Master. I don't know about that. But anyway, that one sounds pretty cool. Like
that sounds pretty
good. It could not be more left field, but hey, I'm all right with it.
I'll take it. You know what I'll also take? Another game, another Blood Dragon game.
Another Blood Dragon. Hell yes. Cuphead footage for the animated series Cuphead. So a little bit of that.
Bizarre also.
Very, very bizarre. And then live action Resident Evil series. They went through, showed off the cast. Not really much else about that, but looks pretty cool. And then that's really it. So that's everything for what Netflix Geeked Week. Not everything, but everything I think is pertinent.
It was pretty geeky, I will say.
Yeah,
I would say that
definitely.
The geeky me is excited about a lot of this.
Me too.
A lot of these announcements. Confused about some others.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch everything, but I feel like
it's good to know it's there.
Yeah, if it could be done well, then I'm happy it's there, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Now you did mention that CD Projekt Red was they were doing something with CD Projekt Red, Netflix, and that's not the only announcement that CD Projekt Red had for us at E3. That's not the only surprise. They have the news that Cyberpunk 2077, the publisher, I should say, CD Projekt Red, says the data breach that they had. You remember that data breach that they had back in February?
I did.
Oh, actually, it turns out to be a lot worse than they thought it was.
Oh, man.
We cannot confirm whether or not the data involved may have been manipulated or tampered with, is the quote. So, CD Projekt Red, the parent company of the developer of Cyberpunk 2077, announced Thursday that the data breach it suffered earlier this year is potentially more damaging than originally thought. The news was announced during the high-profile industry's premiere showcase during the Summer Game Fest hosted by Jeff Keighley. Of course, you want to just throw it in there while there's a bunch of news. You had only one piece of news. You spent an hour on,
and it wasn't that Cyberpunk is fixed.
No,
you know what I mean?
They're just gonna throw it in. They're gonna throw it in there to try to mask it as much as possible. Try to make it so that it shows on headlines, but then because of all the other news that are coming out, they just scroll down real quick, like it just gets buried.
That's insane.
So in early February, CD Projekt Red announced that it was targeted by a cyber attack. That's what happens when you call your name Cyberpunk. It was a cyberpunk. The cyber attacked them.
Wow.
And that that's horrible. And that data, including video game source code, has been stolen. At the time, the Polish company said that certain data was being ransomed by an unknown party. It did not confirm the type of data stolen. Today's announcement, while still vague, seems to indicate that the data was quite sensitive indeed. And the statement that they posted on Twitter reads as follows. We would like to share with you a follow-up on the February security breach that targeted CD Projekt Red. Today we have learned new information regarding the breach and now have reason to believe that internal data illegally obtained during the attack is currently being circulated on the internet. We're not able to confirm the exact contents of the data in question, but we believe it may include current/former employee, the contractor detail, in addition to data related to our games. Furthermore, we cannot confirm whether or not the data involved may have been manipulated or tampered with following the breach. Currently, we're working together with an extensive network of appropriate services experts and law enforcement agencies, including the General Police Headquarters in Poland. We also have contacted Interpol and Europol. The information we shared in February with the president of the Personal Data Protection Office has also been updated. We will also like to state that regardless of the authenticity of the data being circulated, we will do everything in our power to protect the privacy of our employees as well as other involved parties. We're committed and prepared to take action against parties sharing the stolen data. Obviously, after this news, or actually before this piece of news already, you guys know that their stock pretty much tanked.
Yep.
Right? Which is quite crazy considering that the reports that they've been having of Cyberpunk sold very well even though it's broken, but we still managed to sell a gajillion copies, and whatever. But it is even more alarming. I mean, think of it. It's like imagine ourselves in a position and suddenly our job tells us, oh, by the way, your private information has been hacked and it's now on the internet. Like, what do you do? Because that's your life now. Mm-hmm. That is out there. That's when you start like getting super paranoid and closing account or checking your credit reports or being paranoid about who's out there because this person or persons now have my address, my phone number, my contact information, like emergency, like all that kind of like crazy stuff, personal information that we give our employees that we trust that they will safeguard, they will have safeguards in place to avoid this kind of things, but everything's hackable. Everything that's connected
Yep.
is hackable. So yeah, man, it ended up being worse. What is kind of like weird here, although I sort of understand why they will do it this way, because they're not breaking any laws by doing it this way, is the fact that they chose this date to release that information. Oh, that day was yesterday, actually, on Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
So in the heights of, well, not in the middle of E3, but right around the time that a lot of new pieces of news were coming.
The unofficial start, with Summer Games Fest, the unofficial start on Thursday. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting they chose that, but unbelievable. Speaking of Summer Games Fest, Summer Game Fest kicked off this week.
Oh yeah,
and they had a couple announcements and a couple surprises and a couple of WTF moments.
A lot of WTF moments.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was trying to be generous, but sure. So first and foremost, Elden Ring release date announced alongside a first gameplay trailer, and I gotta say, it looks pretty good. And it is set to come out on January 21st of 2022. Gearbox announced Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is a looter shooter with Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes, Ashley Birch, Will Arnett, and more.
Yeah, it has a kind of a crazy cast there.
It does kind of have a crazy cast, yeah. And apparently it's not connected to Borderlands, but sort of kind of is.
Well, it's kind of in this. I mean, Tiny Tina is a character from Borderlands.
Yeah, so it's like, but it's not. I guess that's what it is. It's not Borderlands. So
right. Yeah, it's not. It's its own thing, and I mean, it kind of looks like it's gonna be Borderlands.
It's saying it's not a Borderlands spinoff, but yeah,
it kind. I mean, it kind of looked like. Yeah, also, I mean, I'm not a fan of Gearbox. I am a fan, however, of Borderlands. I like what they've done. I'm not particularly a fan of Tiny Tina, but at the same time, yeah, exactly. It's a love-hate relationship that I have here. It's like, damn it, this game is actually fun. Fuck, I don't have anything particularly bad to say about it. But Tiny Tina, fuck that, fuck Tiny Tina. I mean, and it's not because there's the voice actress Ashley Birch is the same as it is the same voice actress that does the voice of Eloy, and it just goes to show how much range this person has, that you hear Eloy and the seriousness and the level of wonder and like the way that she speaks, and then you hear Tiny Tina going like completely bonkers, banana crazy, because she is Tiny Tina, off the rails, completely off the rails. And even though, like I say, it's not a likable character, I still find it funny in some cases and kind of fun. So I'll definitely be looking forward more on this.
It definitely, yeah. She does definitely have range, and yeah. I think that goes to show the difference, and not to say that regular stage actors can't do different voices, but definitely it goes to show the the skill of a really good voice actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's set to release early 2022. No set date, but we got a range. Metal Slug Tactics. I'm not sure where that came from. That's definitely a WTF moment.
I did not know that. I mean, Tiny Tina was a WTF moment. This one was like what in the world? Like, but I can. But here's the thing is,
all right though. I mean,
I can see it. The thing is, it's WTF in the sense that it's not expected, but I like those pieces of news when they're completely out of left field, unexpected, and I'm like, oh, but you're like, yes, it's still like this still works. Like I can see the way that this characters and this world could be put into like a it can be converted into a turn-based
turn-based strategy, which is again not something I would ever thought of from the Metal Slug series, but
right, no,
but definitely interesting.
And it's like if somebody announced tomorrow, Contra is back and it's a dating sim now.
That'll definitely be like what? Okay. Oh man. Death Stranding director's cut announced for PlayStation 5.
God damn it! You're taking all my pieces of news.
But this is all connected with one thing.
I know it is. You're right. I can't fault you. But every time you say something, I'm like, well, I guess I'm not talking about that anymore.
Well, no, talk about it now. Talk about it now.
No.
Other than this was another WTF. I was like, so what are we doing with the box? Are we supposed to be doing Metal Gear?
Sorry, but this trailer was completely dumb.
It was.
It's like, okay, what is the message here? Because if it's just a thing about if you're just taking a jab at a series that you no longer make and that is probably not in active development anymore, like what is the point? Or if you're trying to get us excited about, well, now Sam Porter Bridges is gonna be able to hide inside a box, it's like, no, I don't want that.
I will be the first to say I did enjoy this game more than I ever thought I would.
Yes, me too.
But I will never play it again.
No,
it's just
I tried. I bought it. And you know what? The funny thing is, I was playing it when I bought it. I played on PC. I was amazed at how fucking incredible of a PC port this game was. This is like, yes, this is the way you do a PC port. Period. Bar none. Learn from it. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, after the first few missions, like, and I'm done. I'm enjoying it. I can see myself probably, like, if I keep playing, I'll still be enjoying it, but then I'll be missing out on this other game that came out that I need to see.
Yeah. No, I got you. And that's what I don't want to. I don't want to. And this in no way helped me get interested in it. That's for
Did
sure.
they say if is this going to be a free upgrade?
They did not.
Well,
they just followed director's cut. So if they don't mention it, chances are it's not. So
I mean,
but I mean, it depends. Is because it's one thing to say, okay, so it's the same game upgraded, but what I think here is that there's going to be additional stuff that's not in the other one, because that entire area that you see Sam Porter in, that area didn't exist in any of the. We played the game and I was like, I don't know where the hell he is. This looks like he's trying to do Metal Gear, but I'm like, he can't shoot no one, because hello.
For the dumb random reason.
So I'm not sure what it is he's going to be doing in there, but anyway.
But you know what? That could happen, because if you think if you go back to the other games that he has made, he has not shied away of bringing us updated versions with more stuff of the games that they have released. I mean, look at Metal Gear Solid 3, was it? That has Subsistence, or 2? 3? Maybe 2.
It was 3. I think
it was 3. Yeah, because it sounds like something is with survival. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 3 is Subsistence. Like it puts an extra something to the game that makes you want to, like, okay, I really enjoyed this game. I will tell you though, the way gaming is right now, that wouldn't be enough unless the extra is substantial enough where it's like, oh, these are like game-changing aspects. It's like seriously game-changing aspects. Is the only time that I might consider, like, okay, I'm willing to pay for extra. Because again, it was a great game. It was a great experience. I add more music, more artists, more actual fighting. That doesn't mean that you can't kill no one because it creates a nuclear explosion for whatever reason. Like, grounded a little bit more, and I'll be like, okay, I am down. I will play Death Stranding 1.5.
Yeah, we'll see. Right from what this was,
It didn't look like that was what it was.
Yeah, it didn't look like that's what it was. No. So, anyway, moving on. Jeff Goldblum revealed Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is a sequel to the park builder sim, Jurassic World. Mm-hmm. Not interested. Korean MMO Lost Ark headed to the West in fall of 2021. Sable, which is a small indie title that I've had my eye on for a while, and I know this is an Xbox One, finally gets a release date, and that is on September 23rd, 2021. Among Us has a new mode, Salt and Sacrifice, announced for 2022. With Salt and Sacrifice is the sequel to Salt and Sanctuary, and it will feature online co-op. It will launch on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. We like that game. I did like the game until I tried going back to it, and my issue was, I was like, this doesn't. I know it's the aesthetic they're going for. It just didn't look very good. And I looked at this trailer and I was like, oh, so basically we're still watching this game, behind Coke bottles or something. I'm not sure. There's like a smear on the screen. I don't know what it is, dude. I couldn't get back into it.
Anyway. I can understand. I can understand that with games that I know they're good, but they're just like the character creation or even the world stuff is kind of like unappealing.
Yeah, I think you said that you didn't care for the character creation on this one. Because the weird face that the character had. Yeah,
the faces are kind of, and it's not like I need, I don't need a fucking Mass Effect character creation, or anything like that. I'm just saying they look for the cool, because I didn't mind the world around them. I just didn't care a lot about the characters themselves, the way they look.
Yeah. Yeah, like, then the world around it was pretty good, and I actually got pretty far. I remember playing a good 20, somewhere between 20 and 30 hours, and of course
playing as a cook.
Yeah, playing as a cook. That's right. Yeah. You remember? That's awesome. Anyway, more announcements. Excuse me. Ooh, too much beer, guys. Dear Lord.
Wow.
Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt is a vampire battle royale.
Oh, Jesus.
For whatever freaking reason. Set to come out in 2021. Good luck. The new Tale of Arise trailer was revealed. Fast and Furious vehicles are coming to Rocket League. They will arrive on June 17th. That's actually kind of cool. That game company, makers of Journey,
that game company. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Sky Children of Light launching on Switch this month. And Le Petit Prince also arriving in July from them as well. Overwatch 2 director showed off the new look for Batiste and Sombra. And then finally, Nier Automata's 2B announced for Fall Guys. Because, again, WTF.
Because Contra has a dating sim, I'm telling you.
I guess so. Those are some of the major ones. I'm not going to go through all the little ones. And some of them were just, I don't know. There's a new publishing line.
I will go through the little ones since that's all you left me.
Okay, fine.
I have a little one right here. No, wait.
Whoa.
What I meant to say is I have a little announcement here. A little game you guys might not know about, but I'm going to shed some light. It's called Battlefield 2042.
Mm-hmm.
What? Yes, Battlefield has finally been unveiled after that highly kept secret. No leaks or anything. You got to give them props for that. Battlefield 2042 has no campaign and no battle royale mode. So what the hell is this piece of garbage then? No, it's not a piece of garbage. Sorry. Well, I will tell you. After a string of rumors, whispers, and leaks, EA has finally lifted the veil of its latest Battlefield As the latest Battlefield, seeing the flagship first-person shooter moving away from the historical setting of recent entries to a new near-future backdrop, with this year's model subsequently called Battlefield 2042. In a break from other recent traditions, it also do away with a single-player campaign, and there are no plans for an accompanying battle royale mode. Battlefield 2042 will instead focus on its multiplayer, offering 128 players on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series S and X, while PlayStation 4 and Xbox version of the game will support 64 player. God, I really 100% hope that they make that cross gen, not cross gen. Sorry, no cross console. How do you say that?
Crossplay.
Crossplay. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Crossplay.
Cross-dress.
That'll be awesome.
No,
Cross-dress. Yes.
my bad.
There will also be an option of playing against AI bots in either solo or with a squad of friends. There's a quote here that says, I think that's just something that enables us to really lean into what we do, what we're best at. End quote. Battlefield 2042 design director Daniel Berlin told Eurogamer about the lack of single-player campaign, something that's been a series mainstream since Battlefield 3. If you look at the DNA of the studio, I hate when studios say, if you look at the DNA, that's what DNA? Shut the fuck up. That's so corporate speak bullshit. And sorry, that was me. If you look at the DNA of the studio, that what we have been working for so long, we just say, you know what? We're not going to have a traditional single-player campaign this time around, but we're going to put all that emphasis and all those resources into building depth into the multiplayer, because that's what we do best. And now I interject. Yeah, probably, but still not having a single-player campaign feels like a really fucking ridiculous loss, especially when I go into pricing. Battlefield 2042 comes with its own narrative backdrop through the games, with the game set against a humanitarian crisis brought about by climate change, with nomadic refugees known as the non-patrioted. I was going to say the flag smashers.
The flag smashers. I was like, wait, where are we going with this?
The non-patrioted or no pats. Wow. Taking up arms as the United States and Russia engage in an all-out war. Within that, the introduction of specialists named hero characters with their own traits and abilities that complement the existing class system within Battlefield. Period. 2042 is not a game without narrative, says Berlin. You will still have a narrative-driven world that is something that you will see through the eyes of the specialists that we're introducing. Sorry. As we go through the live service and the seasons, they have to throw that name in there. We'll introduce new specialists, and you'll see how the world evolves through the eye of the specialists that we have. And we're going to sell you. And then it goes into the fact that Battlefield 2042 is also not going to have Battle Royale mode, which it makes sense. At this point, I feel like gaming companies are starting to shy away from doing Battle Royale modes, with the exception of whoever's doing the vampire one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the Final Fantasy one,
and the Final Fantasy, yeah, because that's like that. It's like it happened with Dota games, like Dota clones. You know, those I forgot what the actual genre is called, but those games, like once they cement once they have the pillar games that represent that genre, it's very rare that players will pivot towards something else. They probably pivot to something new for a little bit, but then they'll just go back to what they know, what they like best. EA, it's not like they don't have a very successful battle royale game already.
Mm-hmm.
because they have Apex
Apex
Legends.
Legends. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And this one gives the opportunity to just focus on the multiplayer. I gotta say, first of all, that trailer looked stupid ridiculous at first glance. At first glance, I was like completely like, oh no, fuck this. Because it was I mean, it honestly it looked more. Did you I mean, I know you don't particularly care about this, but did you watch the trailer by any
I
chance?
did. I did. Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely
So
did. Yeah.
it gives you a fucking what's it called? Fast and the Furious vibe to it in some of the ridiculousness, in some of its
Absolutely.
ridiculousness.
Yep. Yep.
It is,
I mean,
and I get
you could
it.
just say what it is. I think somebody ejects himself temporarily out of their jet to pull out an RPG from God knows where to shoot another jet and then land back
Back
into the jet that they just ejected themselves and then keep flying. It's
and I
like,
keep flying. And to be fair,
what?
it
Yeah.
that's a nod to someone pulled that in reality in Battlefield 4. There was a player that was a clip basically. That's a nod to the famous clip of someone pulling that type of kill. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Um,
seeing. I think you remember you had brought it up some point. And I was like, "Oh, that is pretty awesome." You know what I
That
mean?
is, it's insane to pull, but it goes to show that they're not. This is not about the narrative or anything like that. This is just about let's just make a fun multiplayer. Fuck it. We don't know how to make single player because nobody likes them. Because they
Because
think
they don't know how to make it.
yeah, because they don't know how to make it. Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry, Battlefield 5. I know what you were trying to do with all the progressiveness and stuff like that, but it was not. That was not the problem. The problem was that the story was boring. And Battlefield 1, I get it. It was the content. It could have been a little bit more exciting than what it was, but that's fine. I get the fact that those stories have been told so many times already that the studios now are like, well, we're just not gonna waste time and resources on it. People just play the single player once and they dedicate the rest of it to the multiplayer. I get that. You know what? You gave up because you can't do it good anymore. Call of Duty did the same thing. That's fine. That's
Mhm.
yeah. I accept. I had to learn to accept it because at first I was mad because I was like, man, fuck that bullshit. I wanted to play a single player campaign. Battlefield. I do throw in from time to time into the multiplayer of Battlefield, but not so much that I wanted it to be the only thing. But now, at the rate that they're trying to bring this up, which is, by the way, it's $70 on console on next gen consoles or current gen consoles, 60 on PC, and 60 on last gen consoles. At that rate, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna pay $60 or $70 for just a multiplayer game. At that point, I'll if I get it, I'll probably get it when it comes free with something that I buy, and I'm not expecting to upgrade my computer anytime soon because you can't anymore. So
I feel like these franchises have slowly but surely moved away from those who tinkered in them.
mhm,
And because those who tinkered in them probably much later, or through a deal, like you said yourself,
mhm,
or something like that. Whereas, like, the only reason they're even tinkering in this is because of the single player, which
yeah,
costs us money because we got to get actors, we got to get all this stuff, and
yeah,
in the end, the people who stick this out every year and then on so forth are the ones who are just playing the multiplayer. So it's like,
yeah,
it's one of those things where when they
mhm.
first did this a few years back, I don't remember which one. I think it was Call of Duty, the first one that did this.
Call of Duty, yeah.
They were panned and they were just like, "Oh, how can you do that? You're missing out on this and this and that and whatever."
It feels like an
And
incomplete game. Yeah.
yeah. And in the end, they go, "Here we are." They have Warzone that's still happening, Call of
Hmm.
Duty, and now you have Battlefield, playing monkey see monkey do, and it's like, well, shit, if it works
Yeah.
for them, we'll do it too, because God knows, EA's been looking for that fucking revenue stream. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, shit, fuck it. Let's just do this. Let's just, it worked for Call of Duty. It'll work for us. And in the end, for people like me, I'm like, you know what? Then that's not the first person shooter game that I want. It'll
Hmm.
come from someone else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think they realize that, and it is what it is. And then Call of Duty, I think, is doing fine. Maybe doing more
Yeah.
money
Forget
now
it.
than it ever fucking did. You know what I mean?
Call of
So
Duty
yeah,
is now gonna be battle royales because that's what the money's at for them, and
yeah,
they have gotten their share. We were always on wondering like, oh, will they steal it from the big ones from Fortnite and Apex? No,
they
no.
did.
Call of Duty always
Yep,
had
yep.
it. If there was a series that could, it was gonna be Call of
It
Duty,
was them.
and
Yep,
it was them. Yeah.
yep. Agreed, sir. Agreed. My next piece, guys. Xbox
Mhm.
Xbox is going to start building its services into TVs, create Xbox streaming devices that negate the need for a console, and will add cloud gaming directly into PC and Xbox console experience. It's the surest sign
Ooh.
yet that Microsoft is now thinking beyond traditional devices for gaming, although it insists that consoles remain its flagship experience. In a pre E3 briefing, Phil Spencer, Philly Spence,
Really Spence.
announced a number of improvements and extensions to the Xbox ecosystem, including its Game
Philly
Pass subscription
X.
service.
I'm gonna start calling
uh,
Philly X.
Philly, yeah, I like Philly Spence, but that's fine. All access payment service and game streaming capabilities. The main takeaway is that, as hinted before, Microsoft is beginning to think of how to reach platforms other than Xbox consoles and PCs. Headlines are as simple. Xbox is working with TV manufacturers to build Xbox experiences directly into internet enabled TVs with only an extra controller required to play. This would presumably use game streaming services rather than seeing games stored on your TV hard drives. Xbox will also build streaming devices for cloud gaming. Think, like the Fire TV and all this stuff that you could just basically plug in, which will allow players to play Xbox games on TVs and monitors without the need for a console. Phil Spencer previously hinted that streaming sticks could be bundled with a Game Pass subscription, but that wasn't mentioned
Mm.
in this new announcement. Later this year, cloud gaming will be added to Xbox consoles and the Xbox app on PC, meaning you can play games before you buy and download them. This can also mean that you could begin playing games while they're downloading. Microsoft data centers are being upgraded with Xbox Series X hardware, meaning gaming players can see better load times and frame rates depending on your internet connection, of course. And finally, Xbox gaming in a browser will soon open to all Xbox Game Ultimate members, supporting Chrome, Safari, and Edge.
Mm.
So the streaming future is here, and Xbox is saying we are in. We're not going to go full steam ahead, like a Stadia, but we are going to pepper it here and there, and
I will
just
argue
let
that
it grow.
with those moves, it looks like they're actually going full steam ahead in more ways than Stadia could have hoped to reach because
Well, I mean, the difference
people don't
there is that you have Stadia. Google is a known quantity, sure.
right.
Stadia isn't. You know what I mean? So Xbox is a known quantity. So that's already a known brand, a brand now that's what 20 years old or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already gonna know it. And to buy a TV and just see, I mean, think about that for a second. To buy a TV, I just get a
Mm-hmm.
new, 70-inch 4K TV, got all the good stuff in there, and you see the Xbox Game Pass app already there,
Mm-hmm.
or X Cloud, or whatever they're going to call it, Xbox X Cloud, and you just go, that's just another service, and you just play it through the stream, or I mean, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to download it, but
No, it's
maybe you
pretty
don't
good
need to.
because
Yeah, maybe you don't need
it's
to. So it is an interesting thing. It's definitely something. I don't want to say I feel bad for Stadia because I really don't. I mean, I never thought that they were 100% in on this. I think we had a discussion back in the day. Like they're half-assing it, and you can already smell it.
Yeah.
And so I definitely don't feel bad for them. But at the same time, I'm like, you guys don't even realize that you made the mistakes necessary for Xbox to go, okay, we're not gonna make that mistake. We're gonna do this instead. You know what I mean? We're still selling Xboxes, but you don't
Yeah.
need one. So yeah, it's interesting, man. It's interesting.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it goes with their plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, the console is just one of the boxes.
Yep.
The games could go anywhere. Let's see how that pans out. Looks good. You know what also looks good, and this is actually excellent news. Thank goodness that you didn't mention them and stole it from me. Axiom Verge 2
Woo!
is coming to PS4 and PS5. That's right. Axiom Verge 2, the highly anticipated sequel to developer Thomas Happ's acclaimed retro-style Metroid-alike. This is what they call it, not Metroidvania.
Oh,
Metroid-alike.
okay.
It's coming to
Metroid
I like it.
adjacent.
Metroid, I like it. It's coming to PS4 and PlayStation 5, along with the previously announced Switch and Epic Games Store's version. The original Axiom Verge, if you're unfamiliar, launched back in 2015, and in plenty of praise for its elegant blend of familiar nostalgia-tweaking Metroid staples and thrilling new twists. Axiom Verge 2 will send players on a quest to discover the origins of the Axiom Verge universe, expanding its celebrated predecessors in a multitude of ways. Now, there are entirely new worlds, for instance, as well as new enemies and new protagonists. Any new protagonist. Indra, that's her name. Indra, as she is known, is a melee-based character, providing a fast contrast to her gun-wielding forebear, who comes armed with a range of hacking-based abilities, enabling players to approach the world in different ways, even entirely skipping bosses if they so choose. That's interesting. Axiom Verge 2 is still without a final release date, have recently made a decision to delay the game for a second time, but for PlayStation owners will doubtless be thrilled to learn that they'll be able to enjoy this alongside their Switch and PC players when it launches this summer.
I can't wait.
I am excited. Yeah. I am very happy to see that it's that it's coming to PlayStation. I played Axiom Verge on my PlayStation 4 and enjoyed the living hell out of it. I could not put that down. It's such a good game.
I'm glad it's coming out in the summer. I feel like we're gonna have a little bit of a drought. I don't see anything like really major coming out. We just have Ratchet and Clank. You got Integrate, which you already have, which is really Final Fantasy 7, which chances are you already played it if you were interested in it. So not really anything major. And so far, through the first few press conferences and events that they've had, nothing immediate. So I think that we're going to have a nice summer to almost go. This might be actually the perfect summer for the backlog. But at the same time, having Axiom Verge coming out is like, okay, well, that's not going to be a super long game, but it's definitely going to be something
gonna be a mini one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a perfect time. Good stuff.
It is. I'm excited, sir. That might be my last piece, unless you want me to talk about how
I have one more.
What a joke the Mayweather Logan Paul fight was.
Oh no, we're not.
We're not wasting
time on that shit.
No,
I'm sure it was just as waste of time as the Mayweather. The fucking MMA guy, I can't remember his name.
Fucking MMA guy. Yeah, another waste of time.
Another waste of time, money, because I actually paid for that.
Oh shit, that's bad.
Anyway, my last piece, guys. Hackers have reportedly stolen the source code for FIFA 21 and the Frostbite engine.
Ooh, Ooh, that is no bueno.
No, it is no bueno indeed. This is amid a major intrusion at EA, you think? As first reported by Vice, some 780 gigs of data has been stolen and is now advertised for sale. So if you're interested in the Frostbite engine that can
The
clearly
source code. Holy shit.
not run Anthem, it's out there for sale if you want it. So EA confirmed the breach again in a statement to Vice, saying that it is investigating a recent incident of intrusion. Quote, we are investigating a recent incident of intrusion to our network where a limited amount of game source code and related tools were stolen. No player data was accessed, and we have no reason to believe that there's any risk to player privacy. Following the incident, we've already made security improvement and do not expect an impact on our games or our business. We are actively working with law enforcement officials and other experts as part of this ongoing criminal investigation. End quote. Frostbite Engine is the tech that powers the majority of EA's major games, from Madden NFL to the very recently announced Battlefield 2042. In addition to the FIFA 21 and Frostbite engine code source code, hackers also reportedly stole EA's software development kits and development tools. And they laughed when they realized how sad these tools were. Wait, no, that's not on there. That's just me. EA is the latest publisher to be victimized by a major hack, with Capcom and CD Projekt Red also suffering major intrusions over the last year. Damn.
I'm gonna tell.
It's just damn.
I'm gonna say that companies getting hacked is never cool. It's never.
No.
It doesn't matter how hateful of a company it is. Remember, you might hate
And I
them,
make
but they
fun
might still
mostly
have their
because
information.
Yeah, I made fun because it's
But-
funny. Not really that is cool.
No. I know. I mean, fuck EA anyway. I'm not trying to defend them anyway. Yeah, I'm just saying that somebody made a comment on the group and said that now the hackers should try to sell the information back to EA as paid DLC. And I thought that was hilarious
is kinda
because
hilarious, yeah.
that'll be like poetic justice.
That
Piecemeal
would be
DLC.
Pretty hilarious, yes. I'm not gonna lie. That would be pretty hilarious.
Word.
It's a little bit sad though, because obviously, as much as you can blame EA, you have people who work there who just work in there. They're not the ones making the
exactly.
executive decision. So you still feel bad for that. I also feel bad that it's happening so often now, that it's like, whoa, who's next? Yeah, for sure.
Sony had a little bit of a taste in 2011. I
Yeah.
think they should really bunker the fuck up.
They should. Yeah. Exactly.
And just in case if it ends up happening, I want this clip to be played.
Wow. My last piece is very small, but I'm going to mention it anyway. At the conclusion of the Day of the Devs showcase during the Summer Games Fest, publisher Annapurna Interactive announced that it will have its own game showcase on July 29th.
What? Okay.
Why?
That's what
Don't
I'm
know
thinking.
why.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Now everybody's fucking having it. Dude, we need to do our GG showcase. I mean, it needs to happen. We need to showcase old school versus new school, so you can, we need to update those to 4K. You know what I mean? Ultra
Wait,
Blu-rays.
are we announcing the old
No.
school versus new school video game?
That would be fucking awesome. But
Because
no,
that's it. I mean, that's been in development for quite some time. It's actually it's still at the very early stages in that we haven't written a single line of code for it.
not one single line of code. Not a thing. You thought The Last Guardian was going to take forever. Anyway, it's just interesting. I didn't realize Annapurna had that much going on to merit a showcase, but evidently they do. And they've decided to wait to a little over a month after E3 to do it.
Yes.
So, why not?
Let them.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Anyway, that's all we got, guys, for the news. So stay tuned. We'll be right back here with our hot topic.
Indestructible. I won't let nobody break me down. Indestructible. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Indestructible. Gonna make you gonna keep on going. Indestructible. The last man standing. I
And we are back with our hot topic of the week.
Hot topic!
Hot topic again, guys.
There we go.
It is Sony. Oh dear Lord, I already forgot it again.
From the
okay.
top, people. From the top.
Oh,
All
my
right.
goodness.
Take
5, guys.
Take five.
I got you here.
And action.
And here we go. Will Sony underdeliver, gosh, on their next gen promise? So guys, let me lay it out for you guys. You can kind of see where I'm coming from and pick apart
why
what
you
I'm
hate
saying,
Sony so much,
why,
and why
I
you're
mean,
such a Xbox fanboy, and yeah, we
I
want to
feel like
understand that.
I am critical of Sony. I mean, that's the ecosystem that I play in. You know what I mean? I'm sure I have a Switch, but I couldn't tell you the last time I used it. You know, because
1974.
Yes, yes. When it
In the
first
summer
launched.
of 1974.
So yeah, it comes to this. So, you know, PlayStation, the heads, the execs, you know, they all mentioned about, you know, we believe in generations, right? So basically saying, hey, we believe in that generational jump. And I agree. You know what I mean? Because I think there's one thing we can say: as much as we always want to be able to bring the other games that we played with us into the new console generation, more importantly, we wanted that new console generation to have a reason to own it.
Yes.
And I think in every console generation so far, we've had that. We've had that reason to own the particular console.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation technically is not any different. We were promised up front that, you know, with the SSDs, load times would be nil, essentially. So fast that, you know, it would change the way a game would be designed, because games are designed with loading in mind. You know what I mean? If you go
Mm-hmm.
back to the early CD-ROM days, PlayStation 1, loading was not something they were even really thinking about. It was just part of how games were made. You know, on
Mm-hmm.
disc, you have to load the next area, and you know, you'd fill in the gap with something in the meantime. And some people
Yeah,
were a
we
little
were
bit,
not playing cartridges anymore.
yeah, some people were a little bit more, how do I say, you know, inventive on how you do with the loading time. And others
Mm-hmm.
not so much. No, others, it was just a blank screen that said loading. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Usually jumping letters.
yeah, exactly. So but anyway, so I was excited. You know what I mean? It's like, because I was like, all right, well, that, you know, and ray tracing, you know, it's another thing. 60 frames per second has now become something we've been asking for since the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era,
Mm.
as being the norm. And frankly, if you're not at 60, people start looking at you now. You know,
Yeah.
like, well, why not, dude? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? It's become the norm. I think that's
All this
I,
graphics and no. Why don't you align?
Mhm. It can happen. I mean, you know, Kojima has been proving that for a while.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point is to say the expectations were that the SSDs and faster, extremely fast loading times would be part of the new reason why you would want this, because now games will be designed around this
Mm.
continuous entertainment. You know what I mean? You don't have to have the occasional fitting in between this rocks while you know the thing was loading. You know, now we have a surprise, I think, because I don't think before the launch we were that it was that known that everything will be starting kind of come out at 60 frames a second. I don't think that was a big
No.
thing. They just kind of left that and said, you know what, we'll surprise them with that.
Yeah.
And yet that's been a big surprise. I've played Returnal, and I can definitely say the no load times is amazing. That game is
Mm.
fast paced, and it remains fast paced.
Mm.
So I can definitely say, it's like, whoa, this is definitely something that I understand. You know, I can see just from this game, like, okay, I get it, man. You can seriously get things moving, and the game was meant to be very fast paced, and it doesn't let you go. You're in it, and you're running, and you're taking everything out and moving on to the next room, and she moves like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog half the time. She's just racing through the levels. And so that's pretty cool. And now we have Ratchet and Clank, which also has proven that. So the question is, or rather, the point of this is, now we know that there are certain titles that are going to be sort of left back, like they did bad in high school, and you're having to repeat 11th grade again. You know what I mean? And
That's a
they're
nice
going to be
analogy.
held back by the last gen because for some reason Sony believes or doesn't believe in generations anymore. Somewhere along the line, they decided to say, we'll keep this going. And so that's the concern. The concern is, well, that was the promise of the PlayStation 5. And is this new direction going to deliver or not deliver on that promise? So what say you, Mr.
Yeah.
Dreamy?
Yeah, I think one of the main things that I remember when this generation of consoles was announced, and more than the consoles, but the games started getting announced, was this idea that Sony games were going to be taking advantage of the hardware, fully, and because there were going to be games designed for the PlayStation 5, and as opposed to Xbox, which what they were doing at the time, and it kind of like backfired on them, especially big time with when they showed the state of Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Was that they were still touting that, well, play anywhere, right? Which sounds good in spirit, but in the execution leaves a lot to be desired, because then you no longer really have a reason to jump into the next generation, because but the next generation console in particular, because if your game is going to be designed with backwards compatibility in mind, what that means is that game, for the most part, and people can say no, there are ways to go, around it and but no, for the most part, that means that those games are going to be hindered in some ways, whether it's gameplay design choices, map sizes, memory allocation, AI, or anything. All those things, they're going to be they're going to be hindered by the hardware of the last generation. Even though this next generation could run it better and run it 4K and stuff like that, and you might not even miss, and maybe their loading times are not gonna be, that bad. Yes, but there's a lot more to get to the games that we play than just the graphics. There's a lot in the background that we could be missing because of that of that backwards compatibility with the previous generation consoles. And like I said, a lot of it could be AI driven. A lot of it could be the map sizes. Those areas where you tend to notice how some games could feel a little claustrophobic, even though they're supposed to be like big, vast areas, or those maps that have to be segmented because well, we have to construct it with the memory allocation of the Xbox One in mind, and it has to be the vanilla.
Because
it
has to play on the vanilla. Yeah,
because you have to. Yeah, if it's gonna play on the series, or on the One X, it needs to play it on the vanilla also. So that's the problem. That's why. And we were seeing this.
That is a perfect example, and I'm glad you brought it up. Was that? I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that was a perfect example because Halo Infinite, was the example of why you don't want to do that.
Exactly,
because you notice everyone saw it immediately, except for the Xbox fanboys. Which, hey, I get it. You're supporting your camp.
I think a lot of them realized too. I mean, that a lot of the memes came out from from
their
that
side,
camp
yeah.
also. The fact that, yeah, you're not really showing us why we bought an Xbox, Series X or S, and it's and it's the vast difference that you will see. Like, for example, around the time I remember Sony was showcasing Ratchet and Clank, actually. And Ratchet and Clank, you saw those levels that will automatically, like out of nowhere, where he will tear to the rifts. I want to say, it will change that in a way that you haven't even seen on PC games. Made, because it's taking advantage of the hardware of that really fast, really fast SSD. Now I haven't played Ratchet and Clank. The other thing, I know the visuals are amazing because I've seen them. I've seen video of it, but I don't know about maps. I installed it that, but I can bet you anything that this is not the type of game that you can bring to the PS4 without taking a lot of things out, or severely downgrading it, and not just the visuals again,
no, actual gameplay elements.
Actual gameplay elements will have
the
to
Rift
be
wouldn't work. You know what I mean? It would have to be. I don't know. I don't even know
like
how you would work
maybe.
around it. Yeah,
like a little
exactly.
pause, like
it will
loading.
be an actual loading screen.
It'll be an actual loading. Yeah, and that's the thing where we see what Xbox is trying to do and their strategy, and we see Sony. Obviously, Microsoft could have the on specs the more powerful console, but Sony is making better use of it, which is what matters at the end of the day. And they always had the advantage. So we were very happy to see Sony doing that, and with the decision when they said, "Oh, we believe in generations." What they're saying by that, what their religion basically is, no, we believe the games that are created for the PS5 are created with the PS5 hardware in mind.
Yep.
We already, because they already released their hits on PlayStation 4.
Correct.
They already have all of those.
So you have an instant library. You know what I mean? When you go in there of all the greatest PS4, which run better, you know what I mean, here on PS5. And so you already have a good start. And go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm still flabbergasted by the decision. But
it was so. This is what I'm thinking. Okay, so this is my conspiracy theory reasons why I think no surprise. Sony has a CEO, Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan,
which have been making some decisions. I'm not gonna call them questionable decisions, because I'm sure that he's doing everything with the best interest of the company. Questionable, it might be more in the sense of like, I don't know if this jives with your message of Sony being for the players, and all that. I feel like the message is getting a little muddled there, but I think Sony is realizing that they have sold a shit ton of PS5, right? But
you mean
it's
PS4?
still, well, PS5 right now,
PS5,
but
okay.
they still have a bigger PS4 install base than PS5. They have released a lot of titles. The next batch of titles are some of them are like the big league items that people are really salivating for, which is recently we saw a demonstration of Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, and we saw we haven't seen God of War yet, but we know that's happening. And I'm sure some other project, right? So my conspiracy theory thought out there leads me to believe that perhaps Sony is realizing that for this major they're making PS5s as fast as they can, and they're selling. Don't get me wrong, they're selling a lot, but they might not have the install base established on PS5 yet, that these games that they're going to be releasing could actually sell. Like this games these games that are coming out have a potential of selling millions and millions of units. Let's say millions and millions and millions, and Sony might have million and million consoles out there, but not million. What I'm trying to say is that there's still more PS4s and PS5s out there, and God of War releasing next year, for example, they're not gonna want to limit it to just PS5 owners, because at that time the PS5 owners, although numerous, they might still not be enough for that what they project that IP can make. So that's where they start adjusting their plans and making it so like, well, you know what? Maybe this isn't the God of War that needs to be all out PS5. Maybe we cut some elements here and there. I mean, again, I'm speculating. I'm not saying they're doing that, but I mean, they will obviously have to, if the original plan was to release on PS5 and now they're saying, oh, it's coming to PS4 also. They will have to cut some things and downgrade some things in order for this to work. Because again, remember, it needs to work on the PS vanilla. This cannot be PS4 vanilla. This cannot be another Cyberpunk situation. So that's that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the Sony is realizing that they can actually make a lot of money because this.
I was going to say, so you're saying that because these are their flagship. Like if they had an unproven new IP, then that's one thing. Because they're like, well, this is unproven. We don't know what's going to do it. It can definitely showcase the PlayStation 5.
Yes.
Because it's for PlayStation 5 only. But it's unproven, and because of that, we're okay with, like, we've established that we're okay with the sales, right? Because everybody has a forecast of sales, right, based on history, based on the product, based on whatever the IP is.
They still need to give us the reason to buy the PS5. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So since they have that already established, what they think they're going to be selling. So what it sounds like to me, you're saying, is that probably Sony had higher expectations of having more PlayStation 5s in the wild at the time to line up with Horizon Forbidden West and eventually God of War Ragnarok, where it would be like, okay, we will make God of War Ragnarok a PlayStation 5 only game, because by that time we can let go of the prior, what I'm saying, we're okay, we have 30 million PlayStation 5s in the wild, and we only need to, based on our projections, we only need to sell 10 million of them, and chances are those PlayStation 5 owners are all waiting for God of War anyway, so chances are we'll get the majority of them through there. So I guess that does kind of make sense, and yeah. And in a way, if you have something else that's unproven, like if they didn't have God of War or lined up, like they didn't announce it, or was maybe further off than we thought, that you could say, oh, I don't know, we have a space shooter sim or something like that. Again, it's unproven, that's being made by, I don't know, Sony Ben, just an example. And so Sony, we don't really know the game. We don't, it's a new IP. We're okay with this one making only 3 to 5 million units because it's already improving anyway. You know what I mean? So if there's
it has the potential of actually reaching more numbers. Look at Returnal. I'm sure that I don't game
think Returnal numbers are doing well, sir. I haven't seen them yet. Yeah, I don't think they're doing well. There's some sales charts from now. Obviously, this is there's certain parts of it that you can't go by, but It's not even charting in Europe. Like it stopped charting after like the second week.
Well,
Uh,
what I'm trying to say is look at at their example of, well, that's an IP that is unproven. That's one that they can take risk
which
and
is
they
why
can
they did.
release.
Yeah, yeah. Which is
Yeah,
why
yeah,
they
yeah.
allowed it to be
They
exclusive. Yeah. They
but
also
but
needed
but
to because of the game type it is. Yeah.
exactly. But you won't see you won't see why would you won't see that you won't see them imposing that limitation with a God of War, because on a God of War, uh they probably, I mean, they're probably going to have a lot of PlayStation 5, yes, but they might not be the numbers that they want to have. They might not be the numbers that they wanted to have to just limit it to
So if
PS5.
it's right, yes, I'm
So
saying. Yeah. Yeah.
so that they had to spill over on on the PS4, and because of that, the game and stop suffering. And in the meantime, I feel like what they have already established that they're gonna do is that to fill those gaps is that they're gonna be re-releasing a lot of titles. And remember that we mentioned that one of our topics that was very similar to this one actually. We're talking about Sony. It's like, what's going on? What's the deal with Sony? I think it
What's
was
the deal
our
with Sony? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. With one of the things that they were saying that they were going to do is do a lot of
Re-releases.
re-releases,
Yeah.
which, hey, they're low what do you call that, low risk, and they sell, because of course they're gonna be selling to a especially if we go into a drought, PlayStation, titles, like what is happening after Ratchet and Clank? What's the next one? Horizon?
First party Horizon
When is
Forbidden
that?
West, and it's supposed to be
October?
for holiday, but they have not nailed it down because
Right. That
they
could that
can't
could just
nail it
end up
down.
being next year. Yeah.
Correct. And
Yeah.
Ragnarok
Yeah.
is definitely next year, which was no surprise. When they first
Right.
showed
Right. And
Ragnarok,
Ragnarok is gonna be,
it
yeah.
said holiday or it said 2021, holiday 2021, and even then
Right.
I was
Right.
like, that's fucking bullshit.
Right. Right. So I
Yeah.
see. So you see with Horizon Forbidden West, I can definitely understand their decision
Horizon Forbidden
money
West
wise to go
was a PlayStation 4 game.
multi-platform.
They never said that was going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive. That came out, and when they first started talking about it, it's coming to PlayStation 4. So that's not disappointing, because they already kind of did that. You know what I mean? It's like, well,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. And, the PlayStation 5 version will probably look and play a lot better, clearly, because it looked and played a lot better.
Yeah.
But the concern is the ones that they have mentioned would be PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Right.
And now they're not.
No, they're not, right.
So as early as February of this year, this is what was expected to be PlayStation 5 exclusives. And this is all first party, obviously, because third party is going to be like, we don't give a shit about your console. We want to make the most money. So all their shit's
Right.
always going to be on everything. Astro's Playroom, which comes free with a console, so there's no real money out of that. Demon Souls, which looks really good, and it's one of the ones that's on my list to get. It's just I gotta kind of be prepared for that one. God of War Ragnarok, PlayStation 5 exclusive. Gran Turismo 7, PlayStation 5 exclusive. Ratchet and Clank, which we already know. Returnal, which we already know. And another one which actually is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. And I actually, this is a correction to the post I made for the Hot Topic, because I completely forgot about this game. Destruction All Stars. That's a PlayStation 5 only game.
Right.
I don't know if anybody has played it, but it is a PlayStation 5 only game. So since this announcement, Gran Turismo 7 and God of War Ragnarok have now been said to be also on PlayStation 4. So it was already announced that these are PlayStation 5 only. So it makes me wonder what's being taken out, what's being done to it. And this
especially
is something
to God of War.
Yeah, this is something where it's like, okay, if you were already on track to just be a PlayStation 5 exclusive and you're designing your game based on this, and, executives come in and go, all right, we're not moving as many units as we can, COVID shortage, God knows, whatever the case may be. Okay, we need also this to come to PlayStation 4. Now you've dropped the monkey wrench into the entire thing because they're going, who knows how far they are into production where they go, okay, well,
But now it's not.
this is not going to run on the PlayStation 4. So
No,
how do we, what do we have to do? So I wonder if that's
downgrade.
they have to downgrade, right? But are they downgrading both or just the one? Like, if did they already make
What
it
do you
far
mean?
enough? Well, did they already make it far enough into the PlayStation 5 God of War Ragnarok where they go, well, we don't want to remove this, so we'll leave this in. We'll just have to do something different from the PlayStation 4 version. And do we
Well, even
suddenly have a PlayStation exclusive that I'm not going to say it's going to run as badly as Cyberpunk 2077, but suddenly has issues
Mhm.
and glaring differences because, again, they were already well into the development of God of War for PlayStation 5 where
Yeah.
you suddenly pulled it back. If you're pulling a lot of it back, that's a lot of reworking. If you probably all of it back so they can both run exactly the same, that's a lot of reworking and a lot of a lot of new stuff that probably gets thrown out. So, do they do a PlayStation 5 version and make a downgraded PlayStation 4 version, which now really just slaps the face of every PlayStation 4 owner? You know what I mean? Or do they just now kill what we would have gotten? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they have to make these sacrifices. And those are the questions I realized in the background going, man, what's going on back there? I would love to know where they were at. Because yes, originally and then Gran Turismo also is another thing, and you already know Polyphony is a fucking developer that
Perfection.
takes forever to make their
Yes.
games. And here, oh, by the way, we need this to run on PlayStation 4. Well, fuck, that's going to be another 4 years. All right,
They actually,
well,
and honestly, and it shouldn't, because if anything, they have the easy part of it. There's not, and I'm not saying that racing games are easy to make, but compared to if I were to compare it to God of War, I would say that one is one that I could see that is mostly graphics, right? Because everything, they should be able to run AI and the rest of that on PS4. They should be able to do a downgrade where it's probably not going to be noticeable, or hell, it will never be noticeable because we will never know what we could have had.
Yeah.
But so they should have it a little bit easier than the developers of God of War. In the case of God of War, the problem is that yes, they probably will still need to start cutting parts that they know they just wouldn't run proper on PlayStation 4 vanilla.
So basically, you're saying that what they're gonna do is the PlayStation 5 version we get will be pretty much the PlayStation 4 version sans load time.
Better better graphics. The PlayStation 5 will not have any extra content, any extra gameplay element or areas or whatever that the PlayStation 4 cannot run. So in other words, it's gonna be like right now. Say for example, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm enjoying Assassin's Creed Valhalla. When I put it on PS5, it runs. It runs really good. 60 frames per second. Everything looks beautiful, right? But I know that this is not next gen. This might look next gen as far as graphics and stuff, but in reality, this is the same game that I could play on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, right? It's the same game. It's the exact same game. The graphics are going to be downgraded, but it's the exact same game. So that's what's going to happen in the case of God of War. You don't lose content, but you don't have content on one and not on the other. They're both going to have the content that fits on the lowest common denominator, which in this case is the PlayStation 4.
Yeah. And then that just leaves into the void as to what
could we have had that we're not getting anymore. Exactly. That's going to be left for the next God of War and who knows. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, and honestly, that's the thing. Who knows? I'm looking for what gets announced at E3. I know that Sony's not going to be at E3, but I'm hoping some companies might chime in or say something or have something to show, because
I feel like
it'll
Is going to, like, because Sony always, and this is the truth, they generally do their state of plays on a Thursday. That's like
Mhm,
that's the normal day that they come out with the shit. And you know when they announce that shit? On that same week on a Monday. You know
on
what
a
I mean?
Monday.
So I feel like we're gonna come out of the weekend with the announcements that have gone through in E3 about by that point, and Sony's going to say, "Oh, we're gonna have a state of play on Thursday." You know what I mean? And it's gonna be at
Okay,
this time, whatever. That's what I feel it
I really
may
hope so.
happen. You know what I mean?
Because
I feel like they need to, because right now, granted, the major stuff hasn't happened yet. I mean, that's the truth. Um, and there have been some stuff that had, like, for instance, Salt and Sacrifice. That's a
mm,
PlayStation 4 game. It's not coming to
mm.
anything else. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that. It says it right on the thing. I'm like, okay. Um, so, but is Salt and Sacrifice something everybody's craving? No, only
Mm,
those who like Salt and Sanctuary. So, there's nothing major that has stuck out. Just this occasional thing that, or it says coming to PlayStation only, or it'll say PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. But outside of that, there really hasn't been anything that has stood out, and that's the only thing I can think of. I feel like that's got to be their response, right? I feel like Sony has this thing where they wait for people to do things and then they respond with whatever they
yeah.
have, which is a smart play. I think that's exactly what happened last console generation. Because these guys came out with $499 TV, and they said, "Oh, okay, if that's the way they're gonna go. All right, we got something for them." And then they just fucking, I don't know. They made one of the
Yeah.
best E3s ever because of some craziness.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. That's not a prediction of any kind. I'm just saying. I'm like, I just kind of feel that's gonna happen.
No, because I don't think you prepare something reactionary in a week, right? They will have to have plans already
Yeah.
to showcase,
Oh, and I'm sure they
something.
do. I'm sure they do. And it's easy to, not giving Sony this credit for the record, because I don't think they think this far ahead. But if you were someone who was in this situation, if you were the owner of Sony company right now, and you'd say, okay, we're not doing a normal thing at E3, but we're not reactionary. We just want to see what everybody else is doing. Let's plan for this. And then based on what we see, we adjust, because it's just a video. It's just an edit. That's all they
Hmm.
have to do, because that's what the state of plays are. There's nobody on stage. You know what I mean? It's just a
Hmm.
state of play. So it's easily adjusted to fit in what it needs to fit in. So maybe,
You don't
but
have
that's
to say. We'll have to see what they will have. And like I said, I'm interested in seeing if if we could be proven wrong, and if we're gonna have new IP or something like that that looks interesting enough that is gonna be uh you know console and generation exclusive, or whichever way you want to call it, just PS5 only.
yeah,
Because again, the problem is not, oh, we don't want game X to be played by people that don't own a PS5. That's not the problem. That eventually everybody that wants a PS5 is going to get a PS5 eventually. What we're saying is that we don't want the games to be hindered by the limitations of the previous generation, which is the exact same thing with we told Microsoft, and when they weren't listening, when they started showcasing the games, it just became a meme.
yeah. Craig,
Just became a
yep,
meme.
good
Now,
old
and you
Craig.
would think they have learned of it, but I mean, you would think they have learned of it, but no, they're still planning on making that game uh
Yeah.
multi.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
multi. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that didn't surprise me at all. Um,
yeah.
but so yeah, we do have a comment on the post for the group. So I wanted to make sure I was able to read this. This is from Armando Chavari. His answer to the question, will Sony underdeliver on their next gen promise? He says, it's a slippery slope. When do you pull the plug on a system when you can't keep up with the demand of your next gen console. It sucks that some of the first party games will be dumbed down for previous console, but knowing that this console is capable, knowing what this console is capable of, and then he references Ratchet and Clank, has me excited on what is to come for future first party titles.
A very positive way of seeing it. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Even though we
Yeah,
may
like
not
he
see
knows, he
another one for a
acknowledges.
while.
Yeah, he acknowledges the fact that this it sucks that this this first line of first party games is probably going to be dumbed down to what the capabilities of the previous generation. But you know what? Let's not forget what this console is capable of.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the I forgot how that saying goes.
At the
At
end
the
of
end
the
of the
day,
day, thank you. It's late already. At the end of the day, which is the end of the day right now, we God of War. It's still gonna be a phenomenal game, right?
oh yeah,
We're
I
still
don't
gonna
doubt. Yeah,
be
yeah,
blown away by what we see, and we're probably gonna forget, and it's gonna be the case of, well, if it satisfies you, then they did their job. If some of us might be thinking like, well, what could have been? What could have been? But sometimes we can't be stuck into that line of thought.
yeah. We also
But it
have to
doesn't matter
look
that we're
at
not gonna.
what's being delivered. Yeah, you know what I
Yeah,
mean. What's okay? What could have been, but what did they do with the time they was given?
yeah,
And if it's something amazing, then it's still amazing. So,
yeah. Still, yeah, exactly. It's still amazing. I mean, I'm playing Valhalla. That game is last gen as fuck. But
yeah.
I mean, look at you. You were playing fucking Mass Effect.
Yeah, that is 3 generations ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least
Still an
it feels
enjoyable game.
it.
Still
Yeah,
was.
it is
Having a
for
good time.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And I can't wait get back to part 2. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, that there takes us to the end of an awesome episode 266, the real 266 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please go goodgame.rocks. Join the conversation there. And if you're listening to this on any of the podcast services, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Mad Dog signing off this week saying E3 has just begun.
E3.
Mr. Dream Twister,
E3.
take us home.
Falcom and the Winter Soldier is a piece of shit. Do not watch that. You have been warned. Don't waste your time. Don't listen to the critics or the people that want to tell you otherwise. I'm telling you, you're better off not knowing. Trust me. Trust me.
Until the season 2, I guess. Well, shit. Now, if you're gonna keep this going, oh my god! I feel like that makes you cringe even more because you go, oh fuck, they're gonna do season 2 of this shit.
Yeah. There was a horrendous thing some horrendous decision on some characters. I'm just gonna leave it there.
all right. All right. With that, guys, we will see you next week.
GG! The Mouthful Podcast is brought to you by GoodGame.rock, the most welcoming gaming community on Facebook. Visit us at www.goodgame.rocks.